The following is a production of the Minnesota Sports Radio Network.
It's the Wells Fargo Minnesota Sports Prep Update for Friday, September 18th. I'm Ryan Phelps.
Severson looks right, goes left, has Dylan Donner diving into the end zone. Dylan Donner, touchdown! That's a 20-yard connection.
The sounds of Week 4 high school football in Minnesota. That was Kevin Kochman on KRJB Radio in Ada with the call as Hayden Severson hooks up with Dylan Donner to give Waban a 14-0 lead over Ada Borup in one of our battles of the unbeatens en route to a 28-7 Bomber win.
Fires a pass here to Falconer with the catch. Jacob breaking the tackle. Here he is up to the 40, using his speed down to the 30, 20, 10, 5, touchdown.
That's Ryan Rawlick on KMHL as Marshall continues to roll down in southwestern Minnesota. They beat Fairmont on Friday 48-7, and those 7 points, the first Marshall has allowed all year. Their average margin of victory, 48.3 points per game, allowing only 1.8 over 4 games thus far. And hats off to Heron Lake Okabena with their 14-6 win over Nicollet on Friday. They snapped a 20-game losing streak dating back to 2012. The Wildcats are now 1-3 and face Westbrook Walnut Grove at home this Friday night.
No score here as we start the second quarter. Poland's going to go back to pass over the middle, and it's caught! Touchdown, Minnetonka!
Paul Ramo, KLQP, in a great rivalry game as Minnetonka takes down Dawson Boyd 42-13. The defending 1A champ Vikings have now won 17 in a row. Half as many as the state's longest active winning streak, which belongs to Eden Prairie at 34 games.
The Minnesota High School Rodeo Association wrapped up the fall rodeo season this past weekend at the Lackawanna County Fair in Madison. There were over 100 families from all over the state of Minnesota, Rushford in the southeast to Little Fork up north, and 140 contestants that took up residence at the Lackawanna County Fairgrounds Friday through Sunday. Competitors range from 6th grade to 12th grade. Events include bull riding, roping, and barrel racing, among others. High School Rodeo is a celebration of our Western heritage as all events evolved out of ranch and horse skill development. The High School Rodeo year is split into halves, fall and spring. The year will wrap up with the state finals in early June, crowning state champions and determining the national team representatives who will travel to Gillette, Wyoming in July. Currently, mid-season leaders include returning all-around cowboy Coy Thorson from Underwood, Minnesota, leading in 3 events, bull riding, bareback riding, and saddle brock riding. Other leaders are Tate Oftedal from Pemberton, Minnesota, steer wrestling, Cole Stevens, Hammond, Wisconsin, calf roping, and Adlin Novella, Sabika, Minnesota, in barrel racing. For the Minnesota Sports Radio Network, I'm Paul Ramo with KLQP Radio in Madison.
I like saving money. I mean, it's not like I have a purse stuffed with coupons or... Okay, I do. The other day, I went into Wells Fargo to get help with a car loan.
Good news. You qualify for our double discount promotion. Get double the interest rate discount we normally give on select new loans and lines of credit just for being a Wells Fargo checking package customer.
And the best part, I didn't even need a coupon.
Come to Wells Fargo to discuss how the double discount promotion can help with the interest rate on your new loan or line of credit. Wells Fargo. Together we'll go far. Subject to credit qualification. Wells Fargo Bank N.A. Equal housing lender.
I'm in a state of caffeination. Got all my fingers shaking. Must have been my large Americano, mochaccino, macchiato. Now the family's gone to bed, and that's my favorite time to get some tips on better rates. Cause my State Farm guy answers late, and even when it's not my agent, someone's standing by so patient. Getting coverage questions answered helps me to relax. Get to a better state, State Farm.
Visit Brandy Warmbier's State Farm Insurance Office, located off Singletree and Flying Cloud Drive, online at brandywarmbier.com.
Remember the name Brian Luke. And no, I'm not pronouncing the country singer's name backwards. Brian Luke, head boys and girls swimming coach at Stillwater High School. His team's 99-79 win over Cretin-Durham Hall last week gave him 124 consecutive dual meet victories. That ties him for the state record set by his father, Elmer, who coached at Hopkins and assembled his streak from the late 70s to the early 90s. Brian Luke has coached at Stillwater since 1975, and the Ponies haven't lost a dual meet since 2003. The streak will either be snapped or a new record at 125 will be set tonight as Stillwater takes on Eastridge. In other news, the Minnesota State High School Coaches Association has 5 new inductees that it will welcome into its Hall of Fame on October 10th during a celebration at the Sheridan West Hotel in Minnetonka. The inductees are Mankato East's Gary Dirks for football, wrestling, and girls track, Minnetonka's Jane Reamer Morgan, cross country and track and field, Shakopee's Neil Johnson, girls basketball and softball, Henning, Minnesota's Don Siepkes, longtime football coach at Ottertail Central, and St. James' Gene Hillenbrandt for wrestling. From time to time here on the Prep Update, we like to highlight former Minnesota Prep standout athletes who are excelling at the next level. Today, Zach Swanson from Wild 102 Radio in Roseau checks in with this.
Thanks, Ryan. For those who play sports, the thrill of winning and succeeding is the ultimate feeling of success. In the case of former Rosa Ram golfer and current Concordia Cobber sophomore Grace Olson, her first hole-in-one wasn't just a personal milestone, it made history at Concordia College.
My coach, he's been at Concordia for like 30-some years and been coaching. He said he's never witnessed a hole-in-one by his player in a meet.
Grace recounts the experience.
Knowing that it was a heavy wind, pin was in the front, I just decided, let's just hit a hybrid and maybe hopefully keep it low. I don't know, the wind was at the right time and the right speed, and it worked out. The people who had just passed that hole were actually like cheering and jumping up and down and stuff, and so we knew it went in. My coach and I just went crazy. We were so excited, and my parents were there, so I don't know, it was just a really cool thing.
A multi-sport athlete in Roseau, Grace holds the achievement as being special, but different from others she shared with her Rams teammates.
You know, I've been in like sports, like I played hockey and stuff where I've been a part of a team, and so this is kind of a different thing where this is something that I've kind of been able to just, I guess, accomplish by myself, and that was really cool. But it's a lot of the same feelings, you know, like winning the section championship and going to state for hockey. You know, it's just like that feeling of like that adrenaline rush and that special feeling, you know. I would definitely say that it kind of compares to that, but this is just really special because it's like Concordia history.
And those emotions and achievements is why we strive for more. For Wild 102 Radio in Roseau, I'm Zach Swanson.
And finally, from the Minnesota State High School League, member schools are encouraged to participate in the league's Thank a Ref campaign. A kind word of thanks toward officials for all they do is the sole purpose of this endeavor. The league says without them, the games are just recess. Minnesota high schools are in need of more officials at all levels. For more information, go to their website, mshsl.org.
Your first word probably wasn't something like finance, or savings, or ATM. But whatever that first word was, it opened up a world to you that was built on conversations. It's this exchange of ideas that Wells Fargo puts into practice every day, through listening, guiding, and planning. So when the conversation is about ways to grow your savings or your business, we'll be here to help you find the right answers. Because an open dialogue is what opens doors. Wells Fargo. Together we'll go far. Wells Fargo Bank, N.A.
Celebrating 75 years of solving problems, Century Drill and Tool welcomes you to stop by your local Hardware Hank to see their breadth of products to help you with all your do-it-yourself projects. From do-it-yourself to commercial lines of tools, Hardware Hank and Century Drill and Tool has everyone covered. Visit Hardware Hank soon and see the power of the blue wall Century Drill and Tool is known for.
You've got a lot more going for you with Hank, Hardware Hank.
It's time for our Hardware Hank Nuts and Bolts Athletes of the Week, which are selected every Tuesday based on your nominations to MinnesotaScores.net. Each week we pick 2 winners, one from the Metro and one from Greater Minnesota. The outstate winner is Cal Rusdet from Keller North Home Football, and the Metro winner is Bishop McDonald from North St. Paul Football. The Wells Fargo Minnesota Sports Prep Update can be heard right here every Monday through Friday, and for more coverage you can find us on the web at MinnesotaScores.net. That's Minnesota-Scores.net. I'm Ryan Phelps on Minnesota Sports Radio.
During this break in the action, I'd like to thank you for watching and ask for your assistance. In addition to live streaming games like this one, PSB Media also produces video commercials for clients. If someone you know is trying to grow their business, tell them to consider contacting production at psbmn.com. The internet is a powerful marketing tool, but due to its size, it can be difficult for messages to reach the right ears. Optimize their valuable time and money. PSB Video will help drive localized traffic to the client's website. Using keyword-driven content, PSB Video can improve where businesses appear in search results. Nearer to the top results means more clicks and more business. So please tell those business owners you know to work smarter, not harder, by considering PSB Production. Find out more by emailing production@psbmn.com.
We're speaking with Rob Friend at the mulch store. Rob, once people have finished up trimming those trees or raking those leaves, how easy is it for them to stop in at the mulch store to drop off those materials? Or maybe even pick up some mulch for next year?
Well, if you want to stop in and drop off, you come in, check in at the gate attendant, and they'll point you in the right direction after you pay a small fee. And if you're ready to pick up something to do a final garden or mulch project, pick out the product you want, pay for the fee, and we'll load up a trailer or a pickup truck if you have that. If not, we do have delivery available.
And of course, you guys have locations all over the metro area.
That's right. For locations and more information on delivery, you can check us out at our website, mulchstoremn.com.
The Sun Current is proud to be your community news leader for over 50 years. Each week you can read their in-depth coverage on local government, school district news, high school sports matchups, community events, and newsmakers. The Sun Current's website is now mobile user-friendly and provides breaking local news coverage daily. Check it out at current.mnsun.com.
The following is a production of the Minnesota Sports Radio Network.
Hut! Looks like goes left. Has Dylan Donner diving into the end zone. Dylan Donner touchdown.
Moving back to pass, looking for the corner. He's got a man. It's complete. It is in for the touchdown.
Tiger fans come to their feet. Glass up the middle. Glass is going.
Oh, he rolls over a Delano Tiger into the end zone. Jacob breaking the tackle. Here he is up to the 40, using his speed down to the 30. 20.
Over the middle, and it's caught. Touchdown, Minnetonka. Kyle Hennon.
Sweat Hogan up the sideline. One man to beat. He's got to turn on the Jets and does. Touchdown, Tracy Milroy Balance. Line him up.
Hello, football fans, and welcome to Minnesota Sports Radio's presentation of the Prep Football Week in Review. I'm Ryan Phelps, broadcasting all across the Minnesota Sports Radio Network and streaming on the web at minnesotascores.net. That's minnesota-scores.net. It's Week 5, and we're officially past the midway point of the 2015 regular season, which means the race for the first ever district championships are heating up. So let's get started with your countdown to kickoff.
Max, set him up. We got first down.
Week 5 is upon us as we're set to kick off football games all across the state tonight. We begin our countdown to kickoff coverage outside the state lines, but this one's too good not to mention. In Dubois, Pennsylvania last Friday night, Meadville running back Journey Brown rushed for 722 yards, just 32 yards shy of the national record. He carried the ball 30 times for 10 touchdowns to lead Meadville to a 107-90 victory over Dubois. The single-game national record of 754 yards was set by John Gianantonio of Netcong, New Jersey in 1950. Dubois sophomore quarterback Matt Miller, who was making his first ever start, finished with 741 passing yards, just 23 shy of the single-game national mark of 764, set by David Corral of Pacific Palisades, California in 2000. Dubois and Meadville combined for 827 yards of total offense. Unbelievable. I promise you those teams would not put up numbers like that against our top defenses, which include Marshall and Mound West Tonka, which are tied atop the list of fewest points allowed at 1.8 per game. Minneapolis North 2.7, Tri-City United 3.3, and Spring Grove and Walker Hackensack Akeley round out the top 5 at 3.5 points allowed per game.
I don't know if it's good or bad, maybe it's fearless, but hey, it's 3rd down and 3, and they're going to put 9 in the box. Let's run play action and try to stroke the post. Let's go.
On the other side of the ball, we have our outstanding offenses led by Spring Grove, averaging 68.3 points a game. Rounding out the top 5, Otter Tail Central at 53.5, Mahnomen 53 a game, and Lewiston Altura and Hermantown have each averaged 52 points a game. Last week there were 75, this week 55. That's the number of teams that are still undefeated at 4-0. And at least 4 of them will leave that list tonight. Our top matchups this week are highlighted by 4 battles of the unbeatens. and they're spread out. In western Minnesota, Clinton-Graceville-Beardsley travels to Underwood. In south-central Minnesota, Maple River at Waterville-Legion-Morristown. In the southeast, Rochester-Mayo at Mankato West. And in the metro, Minneapolis North travels to St. Paul Central. Another great tilt takes place in central Minnesota, where 3-1 Foley travels to undefeated Becker. The Bulldogs are the defending 4A champions and bring their 16-game winning streak back home to face Foley. Eden Prairie currently leads the state with the longest active winning streak at 34 games. Grand Meadow sits at 26, Minneota and Rochester lured at 17, and Mankato West carries a 9-game winning streak into that undefeated matchup with Rochester Mayo. Eden Prairie's 34 straight wins puts them 10th all-time, right behind Caledonia, who won 36 games from 2011 to 2013. One of the reasons the Eagles are so good is because of players like J.D. Spielman. In last week's 28-20 win over Maple Grove, the Nebraska-bound senior had a 93-yard touchdown return on a punt, an 85-yard kickoff return for a TD, scored on a 25-yard run, and he also saved a touchdown with an interception in the end zone. Don't go anywhere, folks. There's still plenty more coming up on the Prep Football Week in Review as we honor some Coaching Hall of Fame inductees and look at a new coach who's looking to surpass a milestone win tonight. Stick around.
Feels good to mingle with these laid-back country folk, don't it, Harry?
You're listening to Ryan Phelps.
I like it a lot.
On the Minnesota Sports Radio Network.
Just like you, plants love a good long soak every once in a while, so indulge them. Give your lawn a long, thorough soaking, and then be sure to allow enough time for the roots to dry before another deep watering. Every yard is different, which is why Nelson offers the tools to keep lawns of all shapes and sizes green and healthy. Stop by your local Hardware Hank and let them and L.R. Nelson keep things watered.
You've got a lot more going for you with Hank, Hardware Hank.
I like saving money. I mean, it's not like I have a purse stuffed with coupons or... Okay, I do. The other day, I went into Wells Fargo to get help with a car loan.
Good news. You qualify for our double discount promotion. Get double the interest rate discount we normally give on select new loans and lines of credit just for being a Wells Fargo checking package customer.
And the best part, I didn't even need a coupon.
Come to Wells Fargo to discuss how the double discount promotion can help with the interest rate on your new loan or line of credit. Wells Fargo. Together we'll go far. Subject to credit qualification. Wells Fargo Bank N.A. Equal housing lender.
You're listening to Minnesota Sports Radio.
If you're enjoying tonight's football game from the comfort of your own home, why not go out next week and get some great food and also watch Eden Prairie football? The Tavern on 4 and 5 will be showing PSB's broadcasts of Eden Prairie football on the big screen, so check it out. It's the Tavern on 4 and 5.
You're listening to Ryan Phelps.
He only does well when he has me for a leader. He's a time slot head.
On the Minnesota Sports Radio Network.
Welcome back to Minnesota Sports Radio's presentation of the Prep Football Week in Review. I'm Ryan Phelps.
Pop, 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 pop. That's what I want. All of you around that ball.
The Minnesota State High School Coaches Association has 5 new inductees that it will welcome into its Hall of Fame on October 10th during a celebration at the Sheridan West Hotel in Minnetonka. 2 of the 5 have football ties. Mankato East Gary Dirks and Don Siepkes, who coached at Henning and Ottertail Central. He was inducted into the 2013 Minnesota Football Coaches Association Hall of Fame and led the Hornets and Bulldogs for 42 years, winning 255 games, putting him 19th all-time. A little further down the list is Hutchinson's Andy Rostberg. He'll go for career win number 150 tonight as the Tigers head to Dassel Cokato. His father, Grady Rosberg, coached Hutchinson for 34 years and sits at 10th all-time in Minnesota with 277 wins. One of this year's best coaches is Andrew Hill. He's got Woodbury off to a 4-0 start for the first time since 1998. The Royals won just 1 game last year and 2 the year before. And finally, all Minnesota State High School League member schools are encouraged to participate in the league's Thank a Ref campaign. A kind word of thanks toward officials for all they do is the sole purpose of this endeavor. More than 6,000 individuals have chosen to serve as registered officials with the league. Many are registered in more than one sport. The league says without them, the games are just recess. Minnesota high schools are in need of more officials at all levels. Go to the league's site, mshsl.org, and click on Become an Official to find out more information. And that'll do it for this Week 5 edition of the Prep Football Week in Review. Don't forget, for more coverage, you can always check out our website, minnesotascores.net. That's minnesota-scores.net. And we'll be back tonight after your game with After the Game. Live from 9:30 to 11, we'll break down scores and highlights from all across the state. 184 games on the docket this weekend. It'll likely be cold and wet tonight, but should warm up and clear off for the few games that remain tomorrow. Thanks for joining us, folks, and best of luck to all the teams competing tonight. Until next time, this is Ryan Phelps saying so long from the Minnesota Sports Studios.
It's time for another round of live, local, play-by-play coverage of Southwest Metro Sports on PSB Media.
1-1, Middlestead to leave him in, and he scores! Pretty amazing.
Watch the teamwork, tradition, and all-out competition unfold live on any streaming device.
The ball up the middle could be 2, and that'll retire the Jaguars 6-3. The Edina Hornets win their 3rd consecutive game. Great defense. Ryan Graff tries to center, and he does. 1-2 into the goal.
PSB Media's coverage of tonight's game is brought to you by The Malt Store, Brandy Warmbier's State Farm Insurance Office, The Sun Current, Noodles and Company, Athlete PT, The Tavern on 4 and 5, and in partnership with Minnesota Football Magazine and BEC TV.
On the run, Bame able to finish with the offhand. Nice move by the senior.
Catch all of the action all season long on your home for Southwest Metro Sports. PSB Media.
Deflection in deep. Berger plays away from him to the left wing boards. That bounces off his skate. Turned over to Aguilar. Shot and save. Score! Aguilar the shot. The rebound.
Game time is coming up next.
Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Einar Anderson Field here in Minnetonka as we're live for high school football here on PSB, Week 5 of the high school football season. Well, I'll tell you what, hard to believe we're more than midway through the season. There's only been, 1 or 2 weeks of NFL and college football. Season's certainly moving quickly this year, but we're excited for what hopefully should be a good matchup and a good rivalry game tonight between Eden Prairie and Minnetonka. Eagles come in with a 4-0 record, riding that 34-game winning streak. On the other hand, you have the Minnetonka Skippers off to a little bit of a tough start this year with that 2-2 record, but don't always let that fool you. This team definitely has all the tools to be a very competitive program, and, of course, anytime you get 2 rivals hooked up, you never know what can happen, but certainly on paper, Dr. Grant Norland, bring you on our color commentator. Eden Prairie's got to be the favorite in this game.
Oh, absolutely. They're a big favorite here, and I think the conditions are going to lend themselves to Eden Prairie's favor here. Minnetonka has a chance here. I mean, anytime you get in a rivalry game like this, they a lot of times use the cliche that the records go out the window, so there's a possibility here, but I think definitely the wet conditions have to play into Eden Prairie's power running attack here. And we'll just see what happens. I mean, I know Minnetonka's struggled a little bit this year so far. They've had some tough games. They've been kind of rotating at quarterback a little bit. I think things are just a little bit unsettled. They're trying to kind of find their way right now. So, as always, Eden Prairie, they know what they're going to do. So, it'll be interesting to see how this one plays out. We're just about ready to get the kickoff underway here.
That we are, and kicking off for Eden Prairie will be their the Eagles as Montero puts a leg into it, and it'll be returned by the Skippers at about the 3-yard line on the left side, carrying it up to the 15-yard line and brought down just short of the 20, and that's where we'll get our first look at this Minnetonka offense, which has had their struggles this year, scoring overall. I was really surprised when I saw this stat, just 6 touchdowns on the season. Well, part of it has been that they've had a very tough schedule this season, at least in 2 of their games against Prior Lake and Wayzata, where they combined to score just 10 points, and they're certainly going to have to find a way to get their offense going early in this one. One of the big weaknesses, well, I should say only weaknesses Eden Prairie might have, is that you can sometimes move the ball on them early in games. They've had some trouble on their opening drives defending, so we'll see what Minnetonka can do. Starting at quarterback for the Skippers is going to be Garrett Olson, just a junior, as he'll go play action rolls, and he completes his tight end out to the 33-yard line, and a good gain there for Minnetonka out to the 34-yard line as the catch was made by number 88 Powers Warren, big guy at 6'4", 237.
So that was a great opening play call there by the Skippers. Going with the play action, they stacked up double tight ends, made everything look like it was coming with a run play in the I formation there. Nice play action by Olson, and throwing a strike to his tight end there on the rollout. That was a really good first play.
Olson again out of the shotgun. This time will keep it himself after faking the handoff, and he's going to be brought down by number 31, Danny Anderson, the linebacker, 6 foot 205, just a junior, and that's a big stop there for the Eagles of Eden Prairie.
Just nowhere to go on that play. He didn't even make it back to the line of scrimmage before he had contact. I guess they gave him a little bit of a fall forward there for maybe an inch, but they're at about the original line of scrimmage here.
2nd and 10 for quarterback Garrett Olson. Give you some numbers on him in just a moment. He's operating out of the shotgun formation. 3 receivers, 2 out to the right. He'll keep it himself, and he's met again in the backfield by a swarm of Eden Prairie defenders. Maybe lose a yard on that play as it'll bring up 3rd and long.
I'm not sure that they blocked anybody on that play. That was the offensive line just looked like a sieve on that play. They went right through him. Did not stay on a block. I think one guy might have held his block, but of course the Eden Prairie brought a blitz there, but still just blew up that run play.
3rd and 10 for the Skippers. Again, out of the shotgun formation is Olson. Draw play, and they're going to gain maybe about 1 yard as Minnetonka going to be forced to punt. So they get one positive play on that first down completion to Powers Warren, but that's it, as the Skippers get stuffed 3 times right at the line of scrimmage as they'll be forced to punt it away.
That's a really interesting series of play calls there. You come out with play action on 1st and 10, get a good gain, and then run 3 straight plays in a row for 0 yards. I don't really understand that. You'd think they'd at least throw a couple times since that seemed to be effective.
Now here's the punt by Minnetonka, and look out, J.D. Spielman back there, who returned a punt for a touchdown last week among, well, many other things. Won't have a chance on the return this time as Eden Prairie will start with it on their own 37-yard line.
I think that's the smartest thing you can do as a punting team against J.D. Spielman is just kick it out of bounds, even if it's a little shorter than you want it to be. He's such a threat. You just never know when he's going to take one to the house, so I think it's the safe call is to kick it out of bounds away from J.D. Spielman.
So Eden Prairie will start with their first possession of the game. 9:36 to go in the first quarter. As there's to give to Spielman to the right side as he'll sneak forward and gain about 3 yards for the Eagles. Head coach Mike Grant listed this week Jackson Zog as his starting quarterback, although they'll also use Jackson Randall quite frequently. In fact, I think he played about the entire second half last week, so.
Yeah, they've been doing that a little bit. They've had some different ways that they've mixed those guys up in different series versus giving them each a half to see how they play. I wonder if they'll settle in with a guy as we get through the season here.
2nd and 7 yards, give straight up the middle. I believe that's Hetherington, and they'll gain about 2 yards and bring up 3rd and 5.
Well, credit the Minnetonka front 7 there, holding Eden Prairie to 4 yards on their first 2 plays. That's a good start. See what Eden Prairie does here on this 3rd and medium. A lot of times you just see them run the ball here for a 14-yard gain, but
yeah,
wouldn't surprise me if you saw a little play action here. They've got some one-on-one coverage on the outside there. Soft corner, which is surprising.
There's the give to Spielman. He's going to pick up the first down and more to the 30, the 25, 20, and he's going to go all the way into the end zone. Well, you said, Mr. Grant Norland, maybe 14 yards. Well, this time he went about 55 yards.
Yeah, 14, 55.
Yeah.
What's the difference? That's probably the better way to do it. So we've got, 3 minutes and 40 seconds off the clock, and it's going to be 7-0, assuming they make this extra point. It's a fast start for Eden Prairie. That's just what they want to do.
All right, J.D. Spielman continues right where he left off last week, where he had the rushing touchdown, the punt return for the touchdown, the kick return for the touchdown, as well as a sack and an interception, and already has a 56-yard touchdown run in this game. As the kick is up and good, as Eden Prairie is going to take an early 7-0 lead. We'll take a timeout here on the broadcast as you're watching high school football on PSB Media.
Great food and great sports. It's the Tavern on 4 and 5 in Eden Prairie. This season, the Tavern on 4 and 5 will be showing PSB broadcasts of Eden Prairie football and hockey on their big screen TVs. So make it a night out. Get some great food while watching your Eden Prairie Eagles at the Tavern on 4 and 5. Some of their classics include the Mediterranean pizza, Tavern turkey burger, as well as delicious breakfasts that are served 7 days a week. That's the Tavern on 4 and 5, just blocks from Eden Prairie High School.
And welcome back to Einar Anderson Field here in Minnetonka. 8:20 to go in the first quarter. Eagles already out to a 7-0 lead as who else but J.D. Spielman getting a 56-yard touchdown on a 3rd and 5. As you and I have brought up throughout the season, doesn't really matter the distance. Eagles always capable of running it and picking up a first down, and, well, then some too. As there's the kickoff. And Minnetonka going nowhere as they're going to start inside their own 15-yard line.
That's tough. A 6-yard kick return from your own 5. That's a tough place to start.
That it is. And now we'll see what the Skippers can do. They had that one first down completion to Garrett Olson back on their first drive. As the junior quarterback Garrett Olson will lead his offense back out onto the field. Looking at some rushing stats for Minnetonka, they do have Jason Fredrickson and Ty Barron as their primary running backs, as well as Marshall Gladowski. On the season, they rushed for a little over 350 yards through just these first 4 games. From the 11, here comes the Skippers. There's the give, and they'll gain a couple of yards on that run, as it'll bring up second and about 9 yards, as on the carry for Minnetonka was Ty Barron.
Minnetonka just stacking up and going right into the teeth of that Eden Prairie defense. That's a tall order. See the teams that have success against these guys. It's the guys that can pass the ball to the flat, down the sideline, and then run to the outside with combinations of intermittent little slashes up the middle once they get them spread out a little bit. But just going toe-to-toe with them up front is a tall order.
So now Minnetonka. This time they'll hand it off, and they'll pick up about 3 yards and make it, well, at least third and somewhat manageable. But this is certainly a big third down conversion for Minnetonka. You punt this one away and looking to give an Eden Prairie good field position.
Yeah, that's the thing, is these guys got to try to keep the balance in the time of the possession here in this game. If they keep going 3 and out and having to punt, this could get ugly fast.
Approaching the midway point of the first quarter. 2 running backs here in this shotgun formation. Olsen sends a man in motion. Fakes the handoff. Now they'll throw a screen out to their number 3. That's Amar Miller. And he's going to come close to picking up a first down. Actually looks like he has it, so a good play call there for Minnetonka to pick up a big first down.
Oh, nice little play there. Good job by Garrett Olson. He had pressure right in his face. He stood in there and delivered a ball that had to be there, and he's able to make a guy miss and get the first down. It's a really nice play.
So a new set of downs for Minnetonka. Rainy evening here from Einar Anderson Field. Kind of been raining all day, but fortunately no thunderstorms or lightning in the forecast. I'll complete a little screen, but tackled immediately is the Minnetonka wide receiver. That's Amar Miller making the catch again for about a 3-yard gain. Like to email us throughout the broadcast. We're announcers@psbmn.com. You can also click that link below your game tracker screen, read your messages on air, let us know where you're watching from, who you're cheering for this evening. Hopefully you're someplace dry and warm on this cool fall evening. Brings up second at about 6 yards. As Olsen fakes the screen, now takes it himself and gets hit hard and stood up at about the 31-yard line, getting just beyond the original line of scrimmage, I should say.
I believe that was Connor Novak-Gore there with the tackle. Garrett thought he saw a little running room there, and then Connor Novak-Gore just says, "Hello, sir."
Novak-Gore, 6'2", 265 pounds. It's been a stalwart defensive tackle for this Eden Prairie team the last 3 years.
He's really impressed me. He has got one motor on him.
3rd and 6 for the Skippers. Back to pass is Olsen, and he'll overshoot his intended receiver, Matt Haas, and it'll bring up 4th down.
It looked like he had Matt Haas on the comeback there. He just overthrew him a little high. See, he's got that off corner. He breaks down. He broke to the right spot. Nice play. Nice route by Matt Haas there to get past the first down. He was open, and the ball just a little too high.
So Minnetonka forced a punt, but before we get to that, we have a flag on the play.
It's like a false start. They're going to back him up 5 more yards. That's tough.
And we'll have to see if they go with that same strategy of not punting to J.D. Spielman. I'm sure the coach is well aware of what he did last week on the Minnetonka sideline, and probably don't want to give it to him again.
Absolutely. And as a punter, it's tough when you're on your left hash and you're a right-footed punter. It's tough to directionally punt it across your body to the left. So he's going to be kicking it to the wide side of the field. If he's trying to go out of bounds here, he's really going to have a tough time getting the
There's
distance.
A line drive punt that will bounce and take a skipper bounce to about the 42-yard line. And all in all, I suppose you'll probably take that when you have a dangerous return man back there, as we'll get our second look at the EP offense with 4:44 to go in the first quarter. Eden Prairie currently sitting at first place in the West Metro South District. Minnetonka in the middle of the pack, and at least trying to stay there, as it looks like there's 4 teams that have kind of separated themselves from the rest of the pack in Eden Prairie, Maple Grove, Wayzata, and Prior Lake. So likely we'll see a battle for that 5th spot. Picked up by Zog after fumbling the initial snap, and he'll actually lose about 3 or 4 yards. A little trouble on the exchange for the EP offense.
It's interesting sometimes the effect the rain has on games. Sometimes you see that a heavy running team like Eden Prairie gains a huge advantage by having sloppy conditions, where other times the rain can be somewhat of an equalizer, where that causes them just as much disruption as the other team.
And here's Eden Prairie again on the run. They'll get it back to the original line of scrimmage and bring up third and about 10 yards.
Well, unfamiliar territory here for Eden Prairie, being in third and long situation. They don't get in these situations too often with their offense. See what play call they have dialed up here. They're making some big substitutions. Looks like they're bringing in some more receivers here.
Kyle Connolly, the big play threat in the passing game. Get this, 6 catches for 281 yards. How about this yards per catch? 46.8.
That's decent. I think over half of his catches are long touchdowns.
We'll have to see if they maybe look for him on this play, as Zog was out of the shotgun formation, but we're going to get a penalty against Eden Prairie first. Actually get them for a delay of game, so perhaps all that substituting caused some confusion, as Eden Prairie's backed up and they'll make it 3rd and 15. Now you wonder if they might just go with a draw play to pick up a few extra yards for the punt. Although, again, last time we said this, Spielman broke off a 56-yard touchdown.
Exactly. Yeah, they got a one-on-one out here. All they have to do is throw a post to Connolly over here, but they're going to throw a screen to Spielman.
And Spielman will come close to picking up that first down at midfield. Boy, that was awfully close. I heard some other broadcasters saying, and they accurately pointed it out, no safeties for Minnetonka, and as you said, Grant, as well.
Yeah.
One-on-one coverage, but they elected to go with the screen for Spielman, and it nearly worked out.
Yeah, that's where with no safeties back. I don't think there's too many audibles called in the Eden Prairie offensive system, but when you see that as a quarterback, you're really licking your lips just looking for that deep ball. That corner is awfully vulnerable. With no
4 and 2, they'll go for it, and they're going to fumble the snap for the second time on this drive, and they'll turn it over on down. So that wet football might be an issue here for the Eden Prairie center quarterback exchange, as the Skippers with a golden opportunity to get some momentum.
That's a huge momentum swing right there. Starting out a drive in Eden Prairie territory, a place they haven't been yet this game, is a huge momentum swing for them. Getting a short field might give them a little spark. They can put a little drive together here and at least get some points on the board. They can keep this thing close and get through the end of the first quarter, potentially even tied here. So
2:40 to go, first quarter. This time Olsen's going to operate from under center, seen him in the shotgun most of the game so far. Olsen back to pass. Rolls to the right side, and good coverage over there by Eden Prairie. I believe that was number 21, Ben Price, who may have gotten his hand on that.
And that ball just thrown a little bit behind the receiver. You're going to see him rolling out to the right here. A little bit of a wobbly ball, but just not quite in the right spot. That one's got to be more to the outside and away from the defender. It's kind of a rule for a quarterback. You want to throw the ball opposite the side of the defender so that the receiver can keep his body between the ball and the defender.
So 2nd and 10 for Minnetonka. Olsen goes back to the shotgun on this 2nd and 10 play. High snap as no play as we see some flags and likely a procedure penalty against the Skippers. So it'll back up Minnetonka by 5 yards. And as you can tell, it is raining outside, but we're inside the press box. Unfortunately, we can't really give you any field sounds, so you're just getting the sounds of our voices. Kind of sounds like we're maybe calling the game in some kind of, I don't know, rubber box or something.
We're not actually at the game.
Yeah, we're not at the game. We're calling it just from home.
Yeah.
Kicking back on the couch, you got it. Just sent our cameraman Landon out there. 2nd and 15. There's a screen pass to Amar Miller, and it'll be incomplete and bring up 3rd and long.
Well, that pass was on target, but he didn't have anywhere to run on that one. That screen just wasn't developed and set up enough.
Yeah, a lot of Eden Prairie defenders around that attempted screen. 2:17 to go in the first quarter. And we'll see what this passing game of the Skippers can draw up to try to pick up this first down after being gifted that turnover on downs by Eden Prairie at midfield. Olsen sends a man in motion out of the shotgun formation, rolls to the left. Now a little shovel pass. Ball is loose, but they're going to call it incomplete. So really so far, Grant, we've seen Minnetonka on a few of these 3rd and longs and really no attempts to throw the ball down the field.
No, not at all. Not at all. Trying to do these little underneath misdirection type plays, and unless those are very, very well executed, it's tough to bank on that to get a first down on 3rd and long.
So Skippers will be forced to punt. As on the punt for Minnetonka is Noah Browley. And they do it a good job again, keeping this away from J.D. Spielman. And we'll have a huddle around the ball as they'll down it at the 19-yard line. So one positive for Minnetonka, they've been able to keep the ball away from Spielman. Kind of wonder what the result would have been last week had Maple Grove been able to do that.
Yeah, exactly. They gave them a good fight last week. That was a really good game. They answered the bell every time.
I was just so impressed by how they moved the ball on that Eden Prairie defense, which had been really, really good this season.
Yeah.
Third drive for the Eden Prairie offense. There's the give to Spielman as he'll cut it outside, able to avoid a couple of defenders and actually pick up about 2.
Well, that was a lot of work for 2 yards. I think he ran about probably close to 40 yards on that play to gain 2. That's tough. Made a couple of guys miss, but with him, he's kind of got that Barry Sanders effect almost, that you just never know when he's going to break one. If he can just string a play out, he's got that threat on every single play where you just never know when he's going to break one.
Approaching the last minute of the first quarter. As there's the give up the middle to their fullback Hetherington, and he'll gain maybe about a yard and bring up 3rd and 7. Alec Hetherington on the season, 48 carries for 236 yards, 7 touchdowns. Pretty good yards per carry, average of 4.9, but nowhere near J.D. Spielman's of 10.9 coming into the game. Pretty good stat to average a first down every time you run the ball.
It is. I think Anthony Anderson used to do that too.
Yeah,
he finished the year with like 10.2 Didn't he? Something like that, or 9 point something?
It'd be interesting to compare those stats. Here's the give to Spielman, always dangerous even on 3rd and longs, and he's going to come close to picking up the first down. In fact, I think he might have it.
Well, he did get the first down, but he took a big shot there from Minnetonka linebacker number 44, Ben Brokow here. You're going to see him shoot in and...
Let's see if we can get another look at that.
Delivered a pretty good shot on him there.
Should note that Spielman was injured briefly in the game last week, but did come back to play. As there's the handoff straight up the middle for Eden Prairie, and they'll get a good gain there, as that's number 22. I missed the number there.
32.
32.
Yeah.
I can't read.
T.J. Lesky.
Lesky, yes. I was kind of confused.
Neither
have I. That's why I was confused as to who had the carry. That's going to be the end of the first quarter. Eden Prairie out in front, 7-0. We'll take a timeout as you are watching high school football right here on PSB Media.
In fact, I
Dudes,
that was his first carry of the year.
Been a couple of A-plus roommates. And I hate to do this because you guys have been cool with everything. You're cool with my band. You're cool with that English accent phase. Remember that?
We're literally out to milk.
And that theater troupe.
Hey, could you give me a second, please?
But State Farm's helped me be really smart with my money, and I got my own pet now. Oh, no big deal. Mom, Dad, my new place doesn't allow pets. Dylan's gonna have to stay here. One love, Pops.
Start out right in life. With everything from renter's insurance to your first bank account, State Farm is there.
Shop and save with Brandy Warmbeer's State Farm Insurance Office in Eden Prairie. A local connection at a lower cost. BrandyWarmbeer.com.
Welcome back. Einer Anderson Field in Minnetonka, getting you ready for the start of quarter number 2 right here on PSB. And so far it is Eden Prairie playing good football, up 7-0, as they're starting at their own 35-yard line on 2nd and 5. There's the give to J.D. Spielman, and they'll be pushed out of bounds at the 40-yard line and near another first down.
I think they're going to give him the first down there with forward progress, although he got pushed back behind the line at the end of the play there. And they are going to give him that first down.
A little bit of a surprise in another game. One of our other camera guys, Krister Woodley, giving us updates on Edina versus Pryor Lake for the Hornets homecoming. And how about this? Edina leading 3-0 after the first quarter. Maybe a bit of an upset there, as you would think Pryor Lake probably a big favorite heading into that matchup.
Absolutely they are. You never know, though, with your homecoming. You always get a little extra juiced up for that one. Wow, nice play there by the Minnetonka defense.
Boy, I think that was...
on that sack number 13.
Anush Whitlock, it looks like. That's a great play, though, as you just said. We'll give you a look at it on the replay.
He just slashed through from the backside there. Relatively unblocked.
Yeah, I don't think anyone touched him on the way in.
Yeah, he just followed that pulling guard right behind and dragged him down.
There's one way to stop J.D. Spielman. Don't get blocked and get a clean shot. 2nd and 13. Tight formation for the Eagles. There's the give to Spielman. Look out. There he goes to the 40-yard line. 30. Trying to beat one defender. He's going to go and take it into the end zone. Another long touchdown for J.D. Spielman. This time 62 yards, and it's 13-0 Eagles.
Well, there he goes again. That's another dynamic play from J.D. Spielman just right after getting stuffed for a 3-yard loss. The guy just takes it, rips off a 62-yarder for a touchdown. That's why he's got to be the most dangerous running back in the state at this point, and return man, too.
Well, it's almost like these last 2 weeks he's gone from an elite level to just something even beyond that.
Yeah, he is on fire right now.
I'm not sure if you ever need to pass if you're Eden Prairie when you have a weapon like Spielman who can convert on 3rd and more than 10 yards just about whenever he wants.
got to tell you what, Mike Riley has to be licking his chops at Nebraska right now. Just can't wait to get him in their program.
Oh, you said it. That could be very entertaining to watch. 10:46 to go, second quarter, 14-0 Eden Prairie on PSB Media.
We're speaking with Rob Friend at the mulch store. Rob, once people have finished up trimming those trees or raking those leaves, how easy is it for them to stop in at the mulch store to drop off those materials? Or maybe even pick up some mulch for next year?
Well, if you want to stop in and drop off, you come in, check in at the gate attendant, and they'll point you in the right direction after you pay a small fee. And if you're ready to pick up something to do a final garden or mulch project, pick out the product you want, pay for the fee, and we'll load up a trailer or a pickup truck if you have that. If not, we do have delivery available.
And of course, you guys have locations all over the metro area.
That's right. For locations and more information on delivery, you can check us out at our website, mulchstoremn.com.
Welcome back to Einer Anderson Field. The J.D. Spielman Show continues from one week to the next as 56 and 62-yard touchdowns for the Nebraska Cornhusker recruit. Eden Prairie will boot it through the end zone for a touchback as we'll get another look at the Minnetonka offense. So we'll see what the Skippers can do here offensively. They've had a couple of good plays, but have just not been able to really sustain anything. None of their drives have they picked up more than one first down.
No, and it just doesn't feel like, I know we've only seen a few plays, but it doesn't seem like they have any real rhythm to their offense. It's just kind of like a random collection of different plays, and maybe they're just scripting things to try to figure out where they can exploit this Eden Prairie defense, but so far a little disjointed on the offensive side of the ball.
Out of the shotgun, they'll hand it off to Amar Miller, and he'll pick up about 3 or 4 yards on that run. Looking at some stats on Amar Miller. Came into the game with just 2 carries for -2 yards, so I guess he's back in positive territory. 3 carries for 1 yard on the season.
There you go.
Take the positives when you can get them, right?
It's good to be in the positive category.
That's right. Second and 7 under center as they'll roll out to the right side and had a receiver open but was under pressure looking for his tight end Powers Olson. Incomplete, or Powers Warren I should say. 3rd and 7 for Minnetonka.
Yeah, 2 guys in his face right there. Took a little bit of a shot at the end of that play. Got rolled into the turf. That's tough to make an accurate throw when you're running away from the line of scrimmage like that.
Yeah, you're kind of right, though. Just things just aren't clicking for the offense right now. That's the best way to put it. Shotgun formation, 2 receivers to the right. As again, they'll keep it on 3rd and long. So the Skippers again not going downfield on these 3rd and long situations. Olson will gain about 4 yards, but come up well short of the first down.
Yeah, that's a curious play call there. Just running the outside zone run play to the quarterback on 3rd and medium like that. It's not typically a play you see called in that situation. Maybe they're just trying to play it safe deep in their own territory like that. But, when you're down 14, beginning of the second quarter, you got to take a few chances and take a shot at the first down. Short punt there.
Back to punt, and it'll roll beyond the 40-yard line. And, well, for one thing, the Minnetonka punting game has done a nice job tonight as it'll be down to the 37-yard line. The punter for the Skippers is Noah Barrowley, who's also had a couple of good plays on defense for the Skippers.
Oh, absolutely. That was a short punt, but they got a great roll on that one. And like you said, Brett, so far they've executed the punting game about better than anything so far, is keeping it away from J.D. Spielman, but still getting some decent net yards on those punts.
9:15 second quarter. Zog, the screen pass out to Kyle Connolly, and he's able to gain 8 yards and close to picking up a first down. So
boy, that's going to hurt his average quite a bit there. Yeah, that's rough. Come on, kid.
Yeah, you're averaging.
What are these 8-yarders when you're averaging 46.8? You got to have a long one to make up for that now to keep that average up.
That's kind of funny as you bring that up. That might actually reduce his average by, more than 10 yards?
Oh, yeah, that's going to bring it down into the 30s for sure. That's rough.
You got to be going to the staff saying, come on, give me a bomb.
Which is still probably the leading average for a receiver in the state at this point, I would have to say.
Yeah, exactly. There's Alec Hetherington. Haven't seen a lot of him tonight, as one of the rare times he's going to gain less than a yard. Usually he's always good for about a yard or two with how hard he runs, but good stop there by the interior Minnetonka defensive line as it brings up 3rd and inches.
Yeah, Hetherington is just you wanted some cliches tonight, Brett. He is a rolling ball of butcher knives.
Rolling ball of butcher knives.
That's what I would classify him as. He's always falling forward. He's not a guy you want to run into.
And the butcher knives, though, that's certainly not something you want to touch. And, well, there goes the rolling ball of butcher knives as he'll butcher his way for a first down.
There it was, right there.
Yep.
Exactly. He's living up to his name already.
You got to have some more cliches for me
Falling
tonight.
forward. Yeah, I pulled out the good one too early.
Did you use your A one already?
I don't know.
Right.
We'll come up with some.
Yeah. You better not have B-level cliches the rest of the game here. So, 1st and 10 here midfield for the Eagle offense. And some early motion on the offensive line, and it'll bring up 1st and 15. Like to email us throughout the broadcast, announcers@psbmn.com, announcers@psbmn.com. Also, you find that link just below your game tracker screen. And already have an email from Jerome. A couple of people saying, hey, we can see your reflections in the screen, and we'll address that right now. We're inside a press box with a window that can't open. We'll wave hello to you. Unfortunately, with the rain, we can't go outside, so we have to go with our next best option. So you might get a look at Grant and I tonight and our camera guy, Landon.
That'd be okay.
So no obscene gestures there, Grant, as there's a handoff past midfield to the 48-yard line.
I'll keep it clean.
That's right. You too, Landon. Thanks.
You see the student sections over there. This is some newfangled high-tech thing. The new thing apparently now is to flash the flashlight of your camera over at the other team. I don't know what the significance of that is. When I played, they just yelled at each other.
Yeah. Well, I was wondering. I wonder if you could do that in basketball, where you're sitting behind the hoop and maybe mess up a free throw, or if they ban that at games. That's the way to use that.
A psych out.
Yeah.
To use a reference from basketball.
Oh, man, a basketball reference. Good movie, though. 6:35 to go, second quarter. We're going to take another timeout as you're watching high school football on PSB Media.
Hi, Grandma.
Hi, Timmy. I hope you're hungry.
Sure am, but I prefer broccoli to mushrooms.
Well, I prefer your brother to you.
Don't mess with Grandma's dishes. Mess with ours instead. Delicious dishes from around the globe that you're free to customize. Noodles & Company. Your world kitchen.
If you're enjoying tonight's football game from the comfort of your own home, why not go out next week and get some great food and also watch Eden Prairie football? The Tavern on 4 and 5 will be showing PSB's broadcasts of Eden Prairie football on the big screen, so check it out. It's the Tavern on 4 and 5.
And welcome back to Einar Anderson Field here in Minnetonka. As there's a completed pass out to the 30-yard line. Didn't get a chance to see that live, so we'll at least show you the replay of what just happened and how the Eagles were able to pick up that first down on the screen to Hetherington. Pretty good fake there by the quarterback.
It was a nice play by Jackson Zog there with a... Actually, that was Jackson Randall, I think, in there now. The guy right in his face, jumped over the top of him and dumped an accurate pass. The fullback wide open, Hetherington in the flat. He got his momentum going downhill, and that's a tough guy to stop.
There's the deep pass, and Connolly had a step on the defender, but it was thrown just a little too far by about 4 or 5 steps. And it'll bring up 2nd and 10 for the Eden Prairie offense.
Yeah, that one he just didn't have a chance. That was out of bounds and way too long. Just well overthrown on that one. You can't even get that corner of the end zone down there on camera.
That's the other unfortunate part of being all in the press box. We're missing about the 5-yard line / corner of the end zone on the right side. There's the give to number 32, that new guy, TJ Lesky, and he's going to go into the end zone. Only his 2nd carry on the season, and he's got a long touchdown run.
Well, what a thrill for him on his 2nd carry of the season against rival Minnetonka. To get a big touchdown to go ahead by 3 scores now for Eden Prairie.
So TJ Lesky, haven't called his name on offense or defense this season, and he comes up with a touchdown run to put Eden Prairie up 20-0. I had to double check our roster when he had that first carry, but won't need to do that again, as it looks like he could make an impact here for this team.
Yeah, and Lesky only a junior, so he's a guy we might see more this year and in the next year, too.
Extra point is up and good, and it's 21-0 Eden Prairie Eagles as you're watching West Metro District Football on PSB. And kicked off and returned by the Skippers. About their 10, and they'll return it about the 18-yard line. So again, Skipper's going to be starting deep in their own end. We'll see what the Skippers offense can get going here. Nothing really sustained at all. They've had a couple of first downs, but that's about it.
Yeah, exactly. It's been a rough night for them so far, and you know, they've got a chance here. If they can drive down and score and get it within 2 scores, they can keep this, at least keep the team in the game. But boy, if they don't score here, if they kick, Eden Prairie scores again, that's just going to open up a wound on these guys. And once Eden Prairie smells blood in the water, it's tough going from there.
6:06 to go in quarter number 2. Let's even get to a couple more emails. And a couple other people pointing out the glare in the booth. The unfortunate part, I know a couple people suggested turning the lights off. The only problem is if we do that, we turn it all off on this left side of the booth, which I'm not sure if the Eden Prairie coaching staff would appreciate. They might have a little trouble looking at their play sheets.
I don't think they need them anymore.
You might be right. At least offensively, just hand the ball off and just about anything can happen. A little bit of a delay here as Minnetonka trying to get their next play from scrimmage going. Shotgun formation for Garrett Olson with a couple of running backs. Now sends a man in motion. I'll try that screen to Miller and tackled immediately by the Eagles, and that's going to be a big loss.
Well, in that little swing pass play, you're going to see 2 guys split out to the right, and those guys have critical blocks on this play. They have to hang on to those blocks. You see the one guy just whiffed. Well, both of them, neither of them got onto their block at all on that play, and that totally disrupts that play.
A couple of defenders in there, Danny Anderson among them. A big loss for Minnetonka, 2nd and about 16 yards. A little trouble with the snap, and There's Miller carrying it to the 14-yard line as they'll gain maybe a yard. If you'd like to email us throughout the broadcast, announcers, psbmn.com, announcers at psbmn.com. Thanks for tuning in this evening. Next week, a big game. Prairie Lake will come into Erie Stadium for what should be a really, really big matchup. Prairie Lake having a good season. They just went ahead of Edina 7-3, getting an update from that game.
Yeah, they're a tough team, and Eden Prairie faced a lot of tough teams this year. So far in Maple Grove and Totino Grace, but so far no one can quite keep up with them this year. So it's going to be I think Prairie Lake's their last tough test. Of course, they have Wayzata at the end of the year too. So Eden Prairie really has a decently tough schedule this year with some of their opponents, but so far no one can quite match up with them up front.
We'll keep it here during the break. And an emailer saying perhaps it might have been Hunter O'Bert on the carry instead of Lesky. Maybe he had a number switch on the program. Everyone else has been saying Lesky, but you can sneakily change those numbers every once in a while. Which would make some sense. Could be, yeah. Maybe messing up the scouting report of the other team. Their new secret weapon, as they say.
Hunter Overt, number 40 is he's listed. Okay.
Oh, you have a second. Have another email from Barb Clay watching from Eden Prairie. As her husband John went to the game, as their son Mason Clay played on the Eagles last year. I remember him. Good receiver for the team last year. Well, here we go. 3rd and 14 for the Minnetonka offense, and we still have yet to really see them attempt anything downfield on these 3rd and longs. Got to think here, 21-0. Might as well take the risk. Well, they elect not to, as it's Olson on the keeper, and he's going to lose 3 yards. So even the conservative play call still loses yards.
Yeah, I don't know what to do in that. I mean, when you're running that zone read on 3rd and 14, when you're down by 3 touchdowns, that's a tough call right there.
I mean, you can understand when you're maybe struggling in your passing game, you don't want to risk anything against Eden Prairie, but you're getting down by 3 touchdowns. Might as well try and hope for the best.
Exactly. I mean, what do you have to lose at this point? You've got to go for something. Otherwise, you're just laying down and admitting defeat already.
And there's the punt to Eden Prairie is being driven out of bounds. Is the return man for the Eagles. That's Ben Price.
And this is going to get ugly. I mean, they've got the ball at the short field here. It wouldn't surprise me if they scored 2 or 3 plays right here. It might be 35-0 at halftime yet.
Yeah, we were kind of thinking this game has the possibility of getting lopsided. We knew Minnetonka, being a rivalry game and a team with some talent, they might have a chance to keep it closer, maybe even really surprise some people, but they had to play an absolute perfect game, and thus far really not happening for them.
Yeah.
Here's the give to Alec Hetherington with some room. The big guy going to try to use his speed, but he'll bowl forward for a first down at the 20-yard line. Doesn't quite have the speed of J.D. Spielman out there on the edge.
That was a touchdown if Spielman had it in his hands, but Hetherington will take his 12 and be happy with it. Yeah, you just really can't understand that in that zone read play on 3rd and 14. That's really a tough call right there. I think that sends a message to your team too, you know. When your guys are out there and you run a play that you know isn't a play that's going to get you a first down, I mean, that sends a message that, hey, we're giving up right now.
And there's the give to, well, we'll call him Lesky for now, although we had an emailer say it might have been Hunter O'Bert, but PA announcer also going with Lesky as he'll get another nice carry inside the 10-yard line.
Well, that's 2 plays. I said 3 or less, so we'll see if they score here.
They very well might. They've had 2 runs of more than 10 yards, and this time they only need, 7 yards to finish it off. Bunch formation, so very likely to run the ball as there's the give to Hetherington. Hetherington into the corner of the end zone. He'll sneak in and score as, Grant, you called it, 3 plays into the end zone, 27-0 EP.
Well, I've just seen that enough times that that's kind of the way it goes.
As you'll miss the very end of the run, again, due to the fact that we're in the press box here in this rainy weather. Reason, again, why you're not able to see the corner and you're still getting that glare of us in the background. As they'll attempt the extra point and try to make it 28-0. And the other broadcasters thought they had confirmation that it was Hunter O'Burt instead of Lesky, who's wearing number 32. So maybe we'll roll with that the rest of the game. Extra point is up and good. 28-0 EP. They're dominating this game. We'll take a timeout, have the final 3:38 of the half coming up next.
Stream your games in HD like the pros. Have a game you want streamed? PSP is here to help. PSP offers its HD streaming services to meet your request, whether you want one game, a tournament, or even an entire season's worth of games live streamed. Every broadcast features professional play-by-play announcers, instant replay, on-screen graphics, multiple camera angles, and much more. Plus, you can even make money from broadcasting. By having PSP stream your games, you create an opportunity to bring in additional revenue to your team or booster club. You can make money from pay-per-view broadcasts, DVD and digital download sales of the broadcasts, and even control of the advertising space on the broadcasts. So what are you waiting for? Get your team on air and stream in HD like the pros. Contact production at pspmn.com to get started today.
And we're back here at Einar Anderson Field in Minnetonka. Eagles starting to run away with this game up 28-0. Been a very, very dominant effort. As Eden Prairie looking to extend their winning streak to 35 games. Kick down deep to the left side as you'll see him work his way into the screen. And the return game not doing a whole lot for the Skippers as well. Don't believe they've had any return go beyond the 20-yard line.
No, they're just getting sheerly dominated in all three phases of the game right now, offense, defense, and special teams, save for maybe the punts on the Minnetonka side. I mean, they're just clearly a dominant team physically, and you can see they're just bigger, they're stronger, they're faster, and I think they're out-scheming them at this point too.
And a very dominant effort. As Olsen will hand it on up the middle, and not a whole lot there for maybe 1 yard. Looking at the history of the Minnetonka-Eden Prairie rivalry, thanks to some stats from the Minnetonka football website. They do a nice job really compiling all sorts of historical data. All-time series, you and I were kind of surprised. The Eagles and the Skippers have only played 23 games all-time. Eden Prairie's won 16, Minnetonka's won 7. But the bigger story, though, Eagles have won the last 12.
Yeah, that's a heck of a winning streak right there. For what they call a rivalry, it's not really much of a rivalry when it's 12-0.
Yeah, the Eagles have that type of number on just about every opponent, save for maybe Wayzata and Cretin-Durham Hall.
And
a short gain for Minnetonka.
I just can't understand. They keep going back to the same plays here, and they keep getting blown up for no gain every time. I mean, at some point, you got to go to something different, take a shot downfield, try to keep them honest, open up the offense a little bit, because when you just keep running into a brick wall like that, that really demoralizes a team quickly. They never have any momentum, never make any big plays. It's like you break the huddle and you just slog to the line of scrimmage and wait to take your medicine again.
Mm-hmm. We'll see if maybe they try to take a shot downfield on this one, as that they tried the screen to Amar Miller, but that one got tipped up into the air by the defensive line. So again, Skipper's doing nothing on 3rd and long. Give you a look at that replay again. See, you got a hand on that one. It was Carter Coughlin.
That was a nice play by Carter Coughlin there.
So 2:05, plenty of time for the EP offense to go up by 5 touchdowns and put this in running clock territory, although those rules don't apply to the 4th quarter. Low snap, and a good job there by the punter Barley to even get that one off on the low snap. And here's the return by number 31, Danny Anderson, as he'll carry it out to the 32-yard line.
Well, they're going to start on the exact same spot as they did last drive. It took them 3 plays to score. They've got 1 minute and 52 seconds. This is almost a guaranteed touchdown here. What's your bet on how many plays this one takes?
It could be deja vu all over again.
You think it's going to be 3 again?
I think it's going to be 3.
All right.
It would be kind of crazy if it was a 12-yard, a 14-yard, and then a 7-yard run, just like the last drive.
It would be.
With the same guys.
I might give them 4 plays here. We'll see what happens.
We'll see. This time they're going to go to the pass. Out to number 81. Haven't called his name much. Liam Reardon, the 6'1", 180-pound senior wide receiver with his first catch of the season.
Really nice open field tackle there by the corner on that play. I believe that was number 40.
Yep, that's 40.
For Minnetonka. Number 40, Duke Larson.
Duke, that's a good name for a
Listed
free safety.
As free safety, but lined up at corner on that play. Really nice open field tackle by him.
That's a great name for a defensive guy who's going to hit someone hard, the Duke.
It is, the Duke.
2nd and 6. They're going to roll out again. Randall under some pressure, able to complete it to Hetherington, and he's got some green space in front of him. Down to the 5, and he'll be tackled at the 2-yard line. Again, missed that on our camera here in the press box.
Okay, we've got to cut it down to 3 plays
yeah.
again.
How about Hetherington? He's got a kick out of this.
Unbelievable. He's really showing his skills now. You know, catching the balls in the flat and running with it. He's not just that up-the-middle runner. He's really showing his versatility here, his ability to catch the ball in open space, and no doubt colleges are taking note of that.
I was going to say, he's got to be getting a kick out of it, too, that he gets a chance to show off his jets a little bit.
Yeah. You see him just run right through that corner after making that catch. That's got to be an intimidating feeling as a 5'9", 180-pound corner out there with Hetherington just barreling downfield with a head of steam at you.
Randall will let Hetherington finish it off, and he's going to bowl his way. Is he in? No signal from the officials. They might mark him down at, the 4-inch line?
Boy, I'm going to buy a lottery ticket tonight, Brett. I called it 3 plays last time. It's going to be 4 this time because they're not going to get stopped on the 2 inches to score here.
Well, what happens if they take a knee and just decide to go into halftime? I'm not sure we're going to see that play call, though.
Mercy.
Here's Jackson Randall under center. The give to Hetherington, and he's just going to dive into the end zone for the touchdown and make it 34-0. So we have Karnak over here with the play calls.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Yes. We got it.
Yeah. You got a future as a fortune teller, I think.
I think so, maybe. That is kind of funny that I called that back to back.
Exactly. Wasn't quite the same play sequence, but
no.
It was the number of plays you called. Now on for the extra point. And still perfect is Antonio Montero in this game for extra points. In fact, he's only missed 1 extra point on the season. Makes it 35-0 Eagles. We're going to take another timeout and be right back from Einar Anderson Field, home of the Minnetonka Skippers.
And we're joined by Rob Friend at the mulch store. Rob, a lot of people are finishing up those fall projects, whether it's trimming trees or getting rid of all those leaves. What can people do with those materials once they're done?
Well, they can bring their yard waste into any of our locations and dispose of it for a small fee. And after it's disposed of, we then process it and turn it into compost.
It's also a very easy, straightforward process to stop in at any of those mulch store locations, correct?
You just pull into any of the sites, you check in with the gate attendant and pay your small fee, and you're all set to go.
And if people would like more information about the great products and services the mulch store offers, what's your website?
mulchstoremn.com.
28 seconds to go here in the second quarter as the Eagles will kick off the ball. And here's Minnetonka with a chance to get something positive in the return game. And here's some room out to the 30-yard line, but a flag flies in at about the 23. So I was about to say this was the first skipper return to go beyond the 20-yard line, but the penalty may negate that.
Well, that's just a killer. Just when you get a play that gets the crowd a little bit excited, they see a guy running in some open space for a decent gain, it's getting called back.
Very likely will be the call as the official still sorting things out. And it will be a hold on Minnetonka. So I'm guessing here we'll probably see a couple of runs. They haven't done much passing, and now at this point in the game, 22 seconds left, second quarter.
No.
Likely to go into halftime.
They just want to get out of this half at this point.
Been a very, very dominant effort here by Eden Prairie Eagles. As there's the handoff up the middle, and again, it's the Eden Prairie defensive line just giving Minnetonka no room to work with at all. Yards per carry, I don't have the stats, but it's not going to be much higher than maybe 1 yard.
They might have about 40 yards of offense this whole half, if that might be generous.
Very well could be right. Well, we're going to go ahead and take a timeout, have some halftime analysis coming up as you're watching West Metro District football on PSB. It's Eden Prairie out in front of Minnetonka with a dominant 35-0 effort on PSB Media.
If you're enjoying tonight's football game from the comfort of your own home, why not go out next week and get some great food and also watch Eden Prairie football? The Tavern on 4 and 5 will be showing PSB's broadcasts of Eden Prairie football on the big screen, so check it out. It's the Tavern on 4 and 5.
Woohoo! This is the best dirt bath ever!
Larry, what's with all that racket?
I'm loving my new digs. This compost is amazing. Come on in, give it a try.
What are you talking about? Oh, yeah, you weren't kidding, Larry. This stuff is great.
The Mulch Store has compost your garden, and yes, even the worms will love. Stop by any of the Mulch Store locations in Burnsville, Minnetonka, Rosemount, and Shakopee to pick up the best compost in the Midwest. Online at mulchstoremn.com. Also shop rocks, seed, soil, edging, and more. Now's the time to make your neighbors green with envy.
Store locations in Burnsville, Minnetonka, Rosemount, and Shakopee.
Stream your games in HD like the pros. Have a game you want streamed? PSB is here to help. PSB offers its HD streaming services to meet your request, whether you want one game, a tournament, or even an entire season's worth of games live streamed. Every broadcast features professional play-by-play announcers, instant replay, on-screen graphics, multiple camera angles, and much more. Plus, you can even make money from broadcasting. By having PSB stream your games, you create an opportunity to bring in additional revenue to your team or booster club. You can make money from pay-per-view broadcasts, DVD and digital download sales of the broadcasts, and even control of the advertising space on the broadcasts. So what are you waiting for? Get your team on air and stream in HD like the pros. Contact production at psbmn.com to get started today.
There comes a time when even an all-star sister can use some assistance himself.
Do I need to be worried about identity theft? Everybody does. So that's when somebody tries to use my name? Uh-huh. My likeness? Yes, sir. Like if they try to look like me, but with a fake mustache? Yeah. And glasses? Yes, exactly. I think I'm gonna need some help with that.
When assisting is in your blood, you know it.
Dudes, you know, been a couple of A-plus roommates, and I hate to do this because you guys have been cool with everything. You're cool with my band. You're cool with that English accent phase, remember that?
We're literally out to milk.
And that theater troupe.
Hey, down up. Hey, could you give me a second, please?
But State Farm's helped me be really smart with my money, and I got my own pet now. Oh, no big deal. Mom, Dad, my new place doesn't allow pets. Dylan's gonna have to stay here. One love, Pops.
Start out right in life. With everything from renter's insurance to your first bank account, State Farm is there.
Shop and save with Brandy Warmbier's State Farm Insurance Office in Eden Prairie. A local connection at a lower cost. BrandyWarmbier.com.
During this break in the action, I'd like to thank you for watching and ask for your assistance. In addition to live streaming games like this one, PSB Media also produces video commercials for clients. If someone you know is trying to grow their business, tell them to consider contacting production at psbmn.com. The internet is a powerful marketing tool, but due to its size, it can be difficult for messages to reach the right ears. Optimize their valuable time and money. PSB Video will help drive localized traffic to the client's website. Using keyword-driven content, PSB Video can improve where businesses appear in search results. Nearer to the top results means more clicks and more business. So please, tell those business owners you know to work smarter, not harder, by considering PSB Production. Find out more by emailing production@psbmn.com.
great food and great sports. It's the Tavern on 4 and 5 in Eden Prairie. This season, the Tavern on 4 and 5 will be showing PSB broadcasts of Eden Prairie football and hockey on their big screen TVs. So make it a night out. Get some great food while watching your Eden Prairie Eagles at the Tavern on 4 and 5. Some of their classics include the Mediterranean Pizza, Tavern Turkey Burger, as well as delicious breakfasts that are served 7 days a week. That's the Tavern on 4 and 5, just blocks from Eden Prairie High School.
The Sun Current is proud to be your community news leader for over 50 years. Each week you can read their in-depth coverage on local government, school district news, high school sports matchups, community events, and newsmakers. The Sun Current's website is now mobile user-friendly and provides breaking local news coverage daily. Check it out at current.mnsun.com.
I really loved this book. Me too. What was your favorite part? The beginning?
The beginning was good.
Did anyone actually read the book?
I really like this wine.
You don't need a book club to drink wine with friends. Great wine and globally inspired food at Noodles & Company, your world kitchen.
Hi, Grandma.
Hi, Timmy. I hope you're hungry.
Sure am, but I prefer broccoli to mushrooms.
Well, I prefer your brother to you.
Don't mess with Grandma's dishes. Mess with ours instead. Delicious dishes from around the globe that you're free to customize. Noodles & Company, your world kitchen.
Welcome back here to Einar Anderson Field at halftime. It is homecoming for Minnetonka, so do expect a little bit of an extended halftime for about another 14 minutes. But we heard some unofficial stats that, get this, Eden Prairie has outgained Minnetonka 375-35 as they lead 35-0 on the scoreboard. Overall, Grant, just a dominant effort here by Eden Prairie. I can't even say it. It's been so dominant.
Doesn't get more dominating than that. That's just rough. It's tough when you're a player. I mean, you go into the locker room after a half like that, it's just tough to even scrape yourself back out onto the field. It's tough. I mean, you know you're not going to win. You've been absolutely demoralized and beat down in the first half, and so it's going to be a tough second half for them. Knowing Eden Prairie, they'll just pour it on in the third quarter and then put their second and third stringers in to let them finish it out. So it might get uglier before it gets better.
Yeah,
if it gets better.
Yeah, because in Eden Prairie's defense, I mean, you can't really play your starters for one half and keep them sharp. I mean, you would think they have to play part of the third quarter at least just to keep them going. But
exactly.
Yeah.
And you go back to the old, I think it was the Bobby Bowden famous quote that said, "It's not my job to stop my offense."
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, it's not. They're not just going to lay down and play nice just to make them feel better. I mean, they're going to run their stuff and run their plays and prepare themselves for the postseason. There's nothing wrong with that, absolutely. Some people would call that running up the score, but, I mean, clearly they are just completely overmatching Minnetonka here. So I don't think that's the case in this respect.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to take another timeout and come back for some more analysis, maybe run for some out-of-town scores, and have the second half on the way in just a few minutes. Could be a very quick second half, as this one looking like it might go running time. 35-0 Eden Prairie over Minnetonka at halftime as you're watching West Metro District football on PSB.
Stream your games in HD like the pros. Have a game you want streamed? PSB is here to help. PSB offers its HD streaming services to meet your request, whether you want one game, a tournament, or even an entire season's worth of games live streamed. Every broadcast features professional play-by-play announcers, instant replay, on-screen graphics, multiple camera angles, and much more. Plus, you can even make money from broadcasting. By having PSB stream your games, you create an opportunity to bring in additional revenue to your team or booster club. You can make money from pay-per-view broadcasts, DVD and digital download sales of the broadcasts, and even control of the advertising space on the broadcasts. So what are you waiting for? Get your team on air and stream in HD like the pros. Contact production at psbmn.com to get started today. We're speaking with Rob Friend at the mulch store. Rob, once people have finished up trimming those trees or raking those leaves, how easy is it for them to stop in at the mulch store to drop off those materials? Or maybe even pick up some mulch for next year?
Well, if you want to stop in and drop off, you come in, check in at the gate attendant, and they'll point you in the right direction after you pay a small fee. And if you're ready to pick up something to do a final garden or mulch project, pick out the product you want, pay for the fee, and we'll load up a trailer or a pickup truck if you have that. If not, we do have delivery available.
And of course, you guys have locations all over the metro area.
That's right. For locations and more information on delivery, you can check us out at our website, mulchstoremn.com.
Great food and great sports. It's the Tavern on 4 and 5 in Eden Prairie. This season, the Tavern on 4 and 5 will be showing PSB broadcasts of Eden Prairie football and hockey on their big screen TVs. So make it a night out. Get some great food while watching your Eden Prairie Eagles at the Tavern on 4 and 5. Some of their classics include the Mediterranean Pizza, Tavern Turkey Burger, as well as delicious breakfasts that are served 7 days a week. That's the Tavern on 4 and 5, just blocks from Eden Prairie High School.
Correct, I have a life mate. Is that consequential?
With whom are you communicating?
Jake from Planet State Farm.
Jake from Planet State Farm at 0300 hours. State your identity.
It is Jake from Planet State Farm, home of Discount Double Check.
Describe your apparel, Jake from Planet State Farm.
Khakis.
Khakis. Explain.
A dull earthly garment covering male extremities.
Sounds most appropriate.
Save mass quantities, even at 0300 hours. Get to a better state.
Well, sir, after some serious consideration, I'd like to put in my 15-year notice.
You're quitting?
Technically retiring, sir. With a little help from my State Farm agent, I plan to retire in 15 years.
Wow, you're totally blindsiding me here. Who's going to manage your accounts? This is a devastating blow I was not prepared for.
Well, I'm going to finish packing my things. 15 years will really sneak up on you.
Jennifer will do your exit interview, and Adam made you a cake.
Red velvet.
Oh, thank you.
I made this.
Take charge of your retirement. Talk to a State Farm agent today.
Shop and save with Brandy Warmbier's State Farm Insurance Office in Eden Prairie, a local connection at a lower cost. BrandyWarmbier.com. Stay current on what's going on in your local community. The Sun Current is a local community newspaper that serves several communities in the Southwest Metro, including Eden Prairie, Edina, and Bloomington. The Sun Current will keep you up to date with the latest comings and goings on your school board, city council, arts and entertainment, and community events. And make sure you check out their in-depth high school sports coverage featuring weekly articles on Eden Prairie, Edina, Jefferson, and Kennedy. From football and hockey to tennis and swimming, the Sun Current has your favorite team covered. Keep it local and visit the Sun Current website at current.mnsun.com. And we're joined by Rob Friend at the mulch store. Rob, a lot of people are finishing up those fall projects, whether it's trimming trees or getting rid of all those leaves. What can people do with those materials once they're done?
Well, they can bring their yard waste into any of our locations and dispose of it for a small fee. And after it's disposed of, we then process it and turn it into compost.
It's also a very easy, straightforward process to stop in at any of those mulch store locations, correct?
You just pull into any of the sites, you check in with the gate attendant, and pay your small fee, and you're all set to go.
And if people would like more information about the great products and services the mulch store offers, what's your website?
mulchstoremn.com.
Correct, I have a life mate. Is that consequential?
With whom are you communicating?
Jake from Planet State Farm.
Jake from Planet State Farm at 0300 hours. State your identity.
It is Jake from Planet State Farm, home of Discount Double Check.
Describe your apparel, Jake from Planet State Farm.
Khakis?
Khakis. Explain.
A dull earthly garment covering male extremities.
Sounds most appropriate.
Save mass quantities, even at 0300 hours. Get to a better state.
Shop and save with Brandy Warmbier State Farm Insurance Office in Eden Prairie, a local connection at a lower cost. BrandyWarmbier.com. We're speaking with Rob Friend at the mulch store. Rob, once people have finished up trimming those trees or raking those leaves, how easy is it for them to stop in at the mulch store to drop off those materials? Or maybe even pick up some mulch for next year?
Well, if you want to stop in and drop off, you come in, check in at the gate attendant, and they'll point you in the right direction after you pay a small fee. And if you're ready to pick up something to do a final garden or mulch project, pick out the product you want, pay for the fee, and we'll load up a trailer or a pickup truck if you have that. If not, we do have delivery available.
And of course, you guys have locations all over the metro area.
That's right. For locations and more information on delivery, you can check us out at our website, mulchstoremn.com.
Stream your games in HD like the pros. Have a game you want streamed? PSP is here to help. PSP offers its HD streaming services to meet your request, whether you want one game, a tournament, or even an entire season's worth of games live streamed. Every broadcast features professional play-by-play announcers, instant replay, on-screen graphics, multiple camera angles, and much more. Plus, you can even make money from broadcasting. By having PSP stream your games, you create an opportunity to bring in additional revenue to your team or booster club. You can make money from pay-per-view broadcasts, DVD and digital download sales of the broadcasts, and even control of the advertising space on the broadcasts. So what are you waiting for? Get your team on air and stream in HD like the pros. Contact production at psbmn.com to get started today.
I really loved this book. Me too. What was your favorite part? The beginning?
The beginning was good.
Did anyone actually read the book?
I really like this wine.
You don't need a book club to drink wine with friends. Great wine and globally inspired food at Noodles & Company, your world kitchen.
The Sun Current is proud to be your community news leader for over 50 years. Each week you can read their in-depth coverage on local government, school district news, high school sports matchups, community events, and newsmakers. The Sun Current's website is now mobile user-friendly and provides breaking local news coverage daily. Check it out at current.mnsun.com.
If you're enjoying tonight's football game from the comfort of your own home, why not go out next week and get some great food and also watch Eden Prairie football? The Tavern on 4 and 5 will be showing PSB's broadcasts of Eden Prairie football on the big screen, so check it out. It's the Tavern on 4 and 5.
During this break in the action, I'd like to thank you for watching and ask for your assistance. In addition to live streaming games like this one, PSB Media also produces video commercials for clients. If someone you know is trying to grow their business, tell them to consider contacting production at psbmn.com. The internet is a powerful marketing tool, but due to its size, it can be difficult for messages to reach the right ears. Optimize their valuable time and money. PSB Video will help drive localized traffic to the client's website. Using keyword-driven content, PSB Video can improve where businesses appear in search results. Nearer to the top results means more clicks and more business. So please, tell those business owners you know to work smarter, not harder, by considering PSB Production. Find out more by emailing production@psbmn.com.
If you're enjoying tonight's football game from the comfort of your own home, why not go out next week and get some great food and also watch Eden Prairie football? The Tavern on 4 and 5 will be showing PSB's broadcasts of Eden Prairie football on the big screen, so check it out. It's the Tavern on 4 and 5.
Woohoo! This is the best dirt bath ever! Larry, what's with all that racket? I'm loving my new digs. This compost is amazing. Come on in, give it a try. What are you talking about? Oh, yeah. You weren't kidding, Larry. This stuff is great.
The Mulch Store has compost your garden, and yes, even the worms will love. Stop by any of the Mulch Store locations in Burnsville, Minnetonka, Rosemount, and Shakopee to pick up the best compost in the Midwest. Online at mulchstoremn.com. Also shop rocks, seed, soil, edging, and more. Now's the time to make your neighbors green with envy.
Store locations in Burnsville, Minnetonka, Rosemount, and Shakopee.
Stream your games in HD like the pros. Have a game you want streamed? PSP is here to help. PSP offers its HD streaming services to meet your request, whether you want one game, a tournament, or even an entire season's worth of games live streamed. Every broadcast features professional play-by-play announcers, instant replay, on-screen graphics, multiple camera angles, and much more. Plus, you can even make money from broadcasting. By having PSP stream your games, you create an opportunity to bring in additional revenue to your team or booster club. You can make money from pay-per-view broadcasts, DVD and digital download sales of the broadcasts, and even control of the advertising space on the broadcasts. So what are you waiting for? Get your team on air and stream in HD like the pros. Contact production at psbmn.com to get started today.
There comes a time when even an all-star assister can use some assistance himself.
Do I need to be worried about identity theft? Everybody does. So that's when somebody tries to use my name? My likeness? Yes, sir. Like if they try to look like me, but with a fake mustache? Yep. And glasses? Yes, exactly. I think I'm gonna need some help with that.
When assisting is in your blood, you know it.
Dudes, yeah. Been a couple of A-plus roommates. And I hate to do this because you guys have been cool with everything. You're cool with my band. You're cool with that English accent phase, remember that?
We're literally out of milk.
And that theater troupe.
Hey, could you give me a second, please?
But State Farm's helped me be really smart with my money, and I got my own pet now. Oh, no big deal. Mom, Dad, my new place doesn't allow pets. Dylan's gonna have to stay here. One love, Pops.
Start out right in life. With everything from renter's insurance to your first bank account, State Farm is there.
Shop and save with Brandy Warmbeer's State Farm Insurance Office in Eden Prairie, a local connection at a lower cost. BrandyWarmbeer.com.
During this break in the action, I'd like to thank you for watching and ask for your assistance. In addition to live streaming games like this one, PSB Media also produces video commercials for clients. If someone you know is trying to grow their business, tell them to consider contacting production at psbmn.com. The internet is a powerful marketing tool, but due to its size, it can be difficult for messages to reach the right ears. Optimize their valuable time and money. PSB Video will help drive localized traffic to the client's website. Using keyword-driven content, PSB Video can improve where businesses appear in search results. Nearer to the top results means more clicks and more business. So please, tell those business owners you know to work smarter, not harder, by considering PSB Production. Find out more by emailing production@psbmn.com.
Great food and great sports. It's the Tavern on 4 and 5 in Eden Prairie. This season, the Tavern on 4 and 5 will be showing PSB broadcasts of Eden Prairie football and hockey on their big screen TVs. So make it a night out. Get some great food while watching your Eden Prairie Eagles at the Tavern on 4 and 5. Some of their classics include the Mediterranean Pizza, Tavern Turkey Burger, as well as delicious breakfasts that are served 7 days a week. That's the Tavern on 4 and 5, just blocks from Eden Prairie High School.
The Sun Current is proud to be your community news leader for over 50 years. Each week you can read...
And welcome back to Einar Anderson Field in Minnetonka as we're getting ready for the second half of what's been a very dominant effort for the Eden Prairie Eagles, on top 35-0 and just dominating in every statistical category. I think we heard they had 375 yards of offense, Unofficially, we heard Minnetonka had 35 yards in offense, but all three of us here were kind of thinking that might even be a generous stat. So we'll see what the third quarter has in store. Sure, we'll start to see the benches empty relatively soon, as there's a kickoff field at the 5-yard line. A little trouble picking up the ball, as returning it is going to be Tanner Conrad, carrying it out just beyond the 20-yard line, and that's where we'll get a look at the Eden Prairie offense, as we'll see how many starters make their way back out onto the field.
One score you didn't mention, Wally, St. Louis Park, and I think I know the reason why that score didn't come up. The team they were supposed to play was so frightened of playing Park, they didn't show.
So here's the Eden Prairie offense back on the field. Sure, we'll see a lot of running here in the second half. As there's the give to Alec Hetherington, who's had a big game, showing off his speed, or some of his teammates might joke, lack thereof.
Do they joke about that?
I don't know, do they?
I
You
think
they
he's
ever
got
would?
decent speed.
Yeah?
I think so.
All right.
Well, you see
Sometimes
Eden
the
Prairie with
fullback,
their
yeah.
Traditional 6 yards in a cloud of dust play there.
Yeah.
There's another cliche for you. Usually
Cloud of
it's,
dust. That one,
usually it said 3 yards in a cloud of dust, but for them it's 6.
So here we go, 2nd and 4. As there's the handoff for Eden Prairie, and not a whole lot of room there. Good stop there by the Minnetonka defensive line. Among the tacklers were Duke Larson, called his name a couple of times, as it was Tanner Conrad.
Yeah, not much surge by the Eden Prairie offensive line on that play. They call that, you hear them talk about this surge of the offensive line. That's how deep into the defense they can push that front four. And there, obviously, the Minnetonka skippers did a good job of holding their ground up front and stringing them out to the outside and getting them for no gain.
Randall back to pass, completes it to Hetherington, trying to reach that football out in front for the first down, but he might come up about a half a yard short.
He's not going to get it. And that was a great open field tackle by Nate Schumacher, number 20.
Yeah, take a look at that.
Minnetonka.
Yeah.
Running down the much bigger Hetherington and bringing him down on that play.
And again, talking about how good Hetherington is at breaking tackles, that is a really good takedown. And Eden Prairie going to go for it here on 4th and very short, and they give it off to who else but Hetherington as he just bowls his way forward.
Well,
for
that's
a
more or
large
less
gain.
that's more or less just a kick in the teeth right there to go for it on your own 30-yard line, 4th down in a situation like this when you're up 35-0, and that's kind of that's a muscle play right there.
Yeah.
Just saying we're bigger than you, we're going for this, and sending a message there a little bit, I think, on that play.
Yeah, here's the give to Hunter O'Bert down to the 45-yard line. Another big run there for O'Bert, this time close to 20 yards, and it's another Eagles first down. Seeing a heavy dose now of Hetherington, T.J. Conrad, Hunter O'Bert over the last quarter and a half or so. Haven't seen Spielman quite as much since, well, they obviously haven't really needed to run the ball.
I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't even play him in the second half. I mean, what's the point in risking him getting hurt or something like that in a game like this when you're up by this much?
T.J. Conrad might take this one to the house, the 5, and into the end zone.
Especially when the next guy in line can do that.
Yeah.
Right?
T.J. Conrad with some good speed there on that run.
We've seen a couple of decent plays by the Minnetonka defense at times, stopping them for short gains. But, and eventually they're just going to break one like that on you. And they are overall just not able to hang with these guys.
So they came into the second half with, 375 yards of offense, and add another 75 to that total to, 450, something around there.
Right. Yeah, this is, you talk about spoiling a homecoming. This is it right here.
Yeah, that's tough, too, for Minnetonka, being that it is their homecoming. 42-0, Eden Prairie on top. We'll take a timeout and have more on the way next here on PSB.
Correct, I have a life mate. Is that consequential?
With whom are you communicating?
Jake from Planet State Farm.
Jake from Planet State Farm at 0300 hours. State your identity.
It is Jake from Planet State Farm, home of Discount Double Check.
Describe your apparel, Jake from Planet State Farm.
Khakis?
Khakis. Explain.
A dull earthly garment covering male extremities.
Sounds most appropriate.
Save mass quantities, even at 0300 hours. Get to a better state.
Shop and save with Brandy Warmbier's State Farm Insurance Office in Eden Prairie, a local connection at a lower cost. BrandyWarmbier.com.
Back here at Einar Anderson Field, just a little over 2 minutes off the clock before Eden Prairie gets in the end zone again. You'll see our reflections there in the window on the kickoff as it'll roll out of bounds, and well, work with something positive. The Skippers will start with their best field position of the game so far.
Yeah, that's a break for them right there. They need it.
Whenever they can, and we'll have to see what they can draw up on offense, as they've just been able to really have no answer for the Eden Prairie defense so far, as the D-line especially has just been dominating.
Yeah, they have. I mean, Eden Prairie's playing good defense, but at the same time, Minnetonka's offense has just been, I mean, you hate to say it sounds kind of mean, but they've been inept. I mean, they just can't do anything out there in this game. They've got 2 first downs and a half and only maybe 30 yards of offense. That's tough to watch.
And as we were looking at the roster, they got some big guys on that line as well, so it's one of those types of games as, this won't help as we're going to get the Skippers backed up by about another 5 yards. But, yeah, you and I were glancing through the rosters. We saw a lot of guys that were 260, 290, even 300 pounds, so they certainly have the tools there to have a big, strong, dominant line.
Absolutely. They've got the size. In fact, I think I haven't looked at who all they're gone starter for starter against Eden Prairie, but it wouldn't surprise me if they outweighed them up front.
1st and 15 as there's the handoff to Ty Barron. I actually checked that. Faked me out there, so good fake by Olson. But goes nowhere. Don't really get credit on the stat sheet if you fake out the announcer.
Well, and I can't really, you don't know what to say. I mean, you run those same plays, they don't work in the first half, and you come out to start the second half and run the same stuff over again. I think you got to come out with a spark, try something different, try to catch them off guard, some kind of misdirection play, something to get this offense going a little bit, give them some kind of momentum.
And just again, running into that brick wall is the Minnetonka running back, might have been Barron, as he'll gain maybe a half yard. Had a good burst of speed, but again, it's just like running into a literal brick wall as soon as you reach the line of scrimmage.
Oh, yeah, the interior line for Eden Prairie is tough. I wouldn't call them impenetrable, but they're tough.
So 3rd and 11, we'll see what the Skippers draw up here. Try to get another first down. They've only had 2, I think, so far in the game. I don't think they had any in the second quarter, if I remember correctly. Olson back to pass and finds number 3, Amar Miller, but he's going to be short by about 4 or 5 yards.
Oh, no way. They're going to punt.
Yeah, so
there's no point in punting here.
I have to agree with you on that. I mean, your own 40-yard line.
You're close. I mean, I can see if you're inside the 30 or something, you don't want to take the risk.
Or if it's 4th
you
and
10,
4th and
short.
Yeah.
You know, 4th and 4, down 42-0. You've got literally nothing to lose at this point.
Well, maybe we'll see a fake, but so far they are lining up to punt, and one of the bright spots for the Skippers has been a very good punter, Barrowley, and he gets another good punt down to the 10-yard line, and on his feet is the Eden Prairie return man, Ben Price, as he'll take it up to about the 16-yard line.
Well, that was almost a very dangerous play for Eden Prairie. You can see the return man touch that as it went by him, so that made it a live ball. He had to pick it up and try to run
take a look at it here. It was touched, wasn't it?
Looked like they had him Well, it's tough to say there. It looked like he did. Otherwise, I don't think he would have fielded that. But then just ran right through 4 Minnetonka defenders to end up gaining 5 or 6 yards off that play.
Unofficially 450 yards of offense for Eden Prairie, and they're right back out there on the field. As here they go again. As there's the give to, is that Spielman out there on the carry? No, that's number 43, Carlos Williams, but he picks up right where the rest of the offense left off.
Yeah, and he's a stout back at 5'8", 200 pounds. He's a junior.
Well, look at that, 5'8", yeah, 205, and he carries a couple of defenders beyond that first down marker. A nice carry by Williams. There's another running play. I think this one is Chris Rose.
Yeah, that is an awfully sturdy build for a running back, especially for a junior.
5'8", 205, yeah, he still has time to pile up some muscle before he graduates.
I would venture to guess we're going to see him a little bit next year.
Yeah, Williams just a junior, and then the ball carrier from just a moment ago. That's Chris Rose, a 5'11", 160-pound senior. So Zog will hand it off to that Carlos Williams, a new running. Williams looks like he lost it. Well, no signal yet, but I think it is Minnetonka ball.
It is Minnetonka ball, and the sad thing is you can't even tell because they're not excited about it.
You're right, yeah.
They just came walking off the field like nothing happened.
Yeah, you're right.
I understand when you're down 42-0, but you still got to try to get excited about getting a big turnover like that, especially deep in their territory.
Yeah, we saw Will Feldmeyer smack a guy in his helmet saying, hey, let's get fired up, but that was really about the only guy who was very excited after that. So Minnetonka with a good chance here to break the goose egg here on the scoreboard. A tough game for Minnetonka, but we'll see if they can get something positive going, as it's Olsen keeping it up the middle as he'll gain about 4 yards. Well, again, another read option, and get the feeling here it is the big part of their playbook, but at some point, yeah, if it's not working.
Yeah, they actually got 5 yards on that play, which is about tripling their average, I think, on that play. But, you know, you've got to do something to open it up, something to keep them honest, something to push them deep and make them respect your pass a little bit.
And there's another read option, and they'll carry it down to the 21-yard line. So more positive yards, so they do set up 3rd and 2, and I think this is more what Minnetonka had in mind when they were running their playbook with that read option to set up these 3rd and shorts, but it does help when you have some reserves out there on the field for the EP defense.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, this is how you draw it up.
Hollow victory. Getting some positive yardage.
This is ideally how they want to set things up, are these 3rd and shorts, but much too little too late now. So Olsen, back to pass, has an open receiver. There's Amar Miller, breaks a tackle, and he fumbles it. Ball loose in the end zone, and I think Minnetonka may have recovered it in the end zone, and they did. Touchdown.
Well, that's a roundabout way to get a touchdown right there.
Yeah. So you
but
may
there
have
again, you know, Eden Prairie always leaves that space in their defense. They always play a soft corner out there, and if you can hit it with that hitch route, get a guy in open space, that can be a way you can get some positive yards on him. And you haven't seen him take a shot at that all night so far. It's kind of too little too late at this point, but...
Well, as you missed on the replay there, since the post is in our way, Miller was about to carry it into the end zone. He fumbled. The ball was loose. Yeah. And then the Minnetonka player recovered it in the end zone, missed the number, but they do score the touchdown.
Yeah. So an unorthodox kind of roundabout way to get a touchdown.
But I think they'll take any points and anything positive that they can get.
Absolutely.
Extra point up and good, so the Skippers do get a touchdown on their homecoming and make it 42-7. We'll take a timeout. This is high school football on PSB.
great food and great sports. It's the Tavern on 4 and 5 in Eden Prairie. This season, the Tavern on 4 and 5 will be showing PSB broadcasts of Eden Prairie football and hockey on their big screen TVs. So make it a night out. Get some great food while watching your Eden Prairie Eagles at the Tavern on 4 and 5. Some of their classics include the Mediterranean Pizza, Tavern Turkey Burger, as well as delicious breakfasts that are served 7 days a week. That's the Tavern on 4 and 5, just blocks from Eden Prairie High School.
Welcome back to Minnetonka High School. Skippers on the scoreboard on the, I guess you'd call it unorthodox touchdown. They completed a pass out to Amar Miller, who fumbled the ball at the 1-yard line, but then it was recovered by a teammate in the end zone to make it 42-7. As you see Dr. Grant waving in the background. I guess I'll get in on there. I don't know if they can pick me up, but as we brought up here on the broadcast with the rain, we're stuck inside the press box, and unfortunately the window doesn't open, so you can maybe see Grant and I give you some subliminal messages throughout the broadcast. There's a kick deep and returned by Eden Prairie's Cameron Getz. He's got some room to the 50 midfield, and he's going to take it all the way if he's not going to be caught by Koloski, and he will go into the end zone. What a thrill by number 30, Cameron Getz.
So you take J.D. Spielman out, and you just keep returning kicks for touchdowns.
Wow.
That reminds me a lot of Ohio State in the college game.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
I mean, it's just like they're so deep with talent that they can take their starters out and they put in their next guys, and they're still better than your starters.
Oh, exactly. I mean, you lose two of your your top two quarterbacks, and you go on and win the Big Ten championship, a bowl game, and the national championship.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow, next man up. And how about Cameron Getz? 5'11", 155-pound junior. Wonder if we'll see him in the return game next year.
Oh, I don't think there's any doubt about that. You're going to see a lot of these guys next year. These juniors are just waiting their turn. Obviously, they're quite talented. You got to imagine they'd be starting on most of the other programs in the state at this point.
Yeah, we'll keep it here between the kickoff. But, yeah, we've seen some talented juniors out on the field. Carlos Williams, who we brought up, had a couple of good runs. Granted, he did fumble on the last drive, but he's done a nice job in the running game. Cameron Getz.
Oh, yeah, a lot of new names and faces out there tonight that are making some big plays for Eden Prairie.
Maybe just a glimpse at the future there.
And they certainly need that because this is a team that is pretty heavy on seniors, much like their squad 2 years ago, which graduated a number of players than we had last year with a lot of new guys. They still ended up winning with seniors stepping up who maybe hadn't seen a lot of playing time, and wonder next year if it might be the same case where they graduate a lot of seniors on this year's squad and have another talented class coming right up.
Oh, I'm sure, and it's games like this that actually give those guys that experience to where when they walk on the varsity field next year, they're not cold. You know, they've got some varsity experience. They know what the drill is, and it's not their first game that they're just walking onto the field for the first time. So I think that's invaluable for these kids. You know, a lot of teams don't have that luxury. Your backups that are going to be your starters next year are going to be walking on a varsity football field for a lot of them the first time in their career. Whereas at Eden Prairie, these kids have played probably 3 full football games by the time the season's over.
Yeah, it is a good point, and a lot of teams too, when they lose a big senior class, usually have to rebuild, but Eden Prairie, it's usually just reloading.
Now, just to add insult to injury here, the rain is coming down in sheets. Much heavier now.
That's going to make it even tougher here on the offense, which has struggled. Ty Barron will carry it for about a yard. 49-7, Eden Prairie out on top as the Skippers were able to add to their offensive totals on that last drive, perhaps maybe equaling their total yardage in the game.
Yeah,
unofficially we came
exactly.
into the second half with 35 yards, which we thought might even be generous. Yeah. We'll see if they can keep the positive things going. As here's Olson up the middle. Olson with a decent gain of about 5 yards, sets up third and short, and Again, this is what I'm sure Dave Nelson was hoping they'd have at the beginning of the game with these types of quarterback keepers and on read options, setting up 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3s.
Right. Unfortunately, you've got to put a little asterisk next to that and say that you're playing against the second-team defense right now. At least a majority of the second-team defense, I think, at this point.
Approaching the 3-minute mark here in the third quarter. Olsen will operate out of the shotgun, sends Amar Miller in motion. And are going to get a stoppage and a delay a game against Minnetonka.
How do you get delay a game when you're down by, I mean, shouldn't you be in hurry up by default at this point?
It's tough. It's one of those types of days, I guess, for Minnetonka where these things aren't working for them.
I guess I got a little overzealous with my description of the rain. Not coming down in sheets, but just a little heavier. Just a heavier rain now.
There's the keeper by Olsen as he'll set up 4th and 5, and you hope this time maybe to keep their offense out on the field, and they're going to go back to the punting game. I'm with you, though.
You've got to go for it.
Yeah, you got to go.
You've got to go for it there. I mean, that just sends a message to your team right there that you're not giving up. You're going to keep trying. You're going to keep going at them. And, you know, punting in a situation like this is just laying down.
It is tough on Minnetonka. Eden Prairie is going to call a timeout. We're going to take a brief timeout as well as you are watching high school football live from Einar Anderson Field on a rainy Friday night here on PSB.
We're speaking with Rob Friend at the mulch store. Rob, once people have finished up trimming those trees or raking those leaves, how easy is it for them to stop in at the mulch store to drop off those materials? Or maybe even pick up some mulch for next year?
Well, if you want to stop in and drop off, you come in, check in at the gate attendant, and they'll point you in the right direction after you pay a small fee. And if you're ready to pick up something to do a final garden or mulch project, pick out the product you want, pay for the fee, and we'll load up a trailer or a pickup truck if you have that. If not, we do have delivery available.
And of course, you guys have locations all over the metro area.
That's right. For locations and more information on delivery, you can check us out at our website, mulchstoremn.com.
As there's the punt. Gets as he'll be forced out of bounds at the 36-yard line. As we get a look at the radar, Grant pulled it up on his phone, and I see a lot of green.
It's green across the whole state. We're not going to be dry anytime soon.
Not easy being green. I had to throw a name cliche at you, yeah.
That was good. That was good. Touche.
Yeah. But I'm looking at that. It's going to be wet out here tonight.
Yeah, for sure. Just a nice, easy, steady rain.
Yeah, no lightning, fortunately. There's a handoff to the up man as he'll get driven backwards for a loss of maybe about half a yard, as that's number 45, Mateo, I'm going to butcher his last name, Telemontes, 5'8", 210-pound junior, so another one of those up-and-coming players in the game for EP. If we have any email in the inbox here in the second half, again, you can always email us, announcers at psbmn.com. Announcers at psbmn.com. And there's another handoff. Not a whole lot of room as they'll get back to the line of scrimmage and bring up third and about 11 yards.
So here they're just going to keep the clock running, run the football. You got about a minute left in the quarter. Just going to run it down and get to that continuous clock fourth quarter and get on the bus and go home and celebrate this one.
That's probably the idea they're going to go with here on third and 11, as there's the give to Blake Madsen, and he's going to lose a bunch of yards.
That was a pass.
No, a pass. See, that's how much I was paying attention watching it on the screen.
That was a play-action pass. Incomplete.
See a fake. You get points for faking out the announcer?
Yeah, I think so. Style points in football, right?
All right.
It's all right. I'm
blaming
just impressed that you're still awake.
I'm just finding it funny. I tried calling it from the screen here. I'm blaming the glass and the reflection.
There you go.
There. Prairie back to punt. One of the rare punts they've had this season. Wow. It's a pretty good leg there on that punt, even though it didn't count. I think that's Mark Erzman who was punting it.
Yeah, really nice kick.
And I think, I'm drawing a blank here, but that name is familiar from one of the other sports we call.
What's that one?
Might be baseball, or I'm thinking hockey.
Okay.
But maybe someone can help me out in the inbox.
There you go.
It's kind of funny how those things can pop back into your head when you see a familiar name. So here we are still in the third quarter, very late. And the referee waved off the flag. 1 minute on the dot. There's another punt, and boy, that's another good leg he puts into it. Fair catch called inside the 25-yard line.
Yeah, that was a great punt there by the Eden Prairie punter. Yeah, smart, fair catch by the Minnetonka return man.
Pretty good weapons they got at punter. You have Erzman, and then, of course, their usual guy, J.D. Spielman, who also is a very good punter.
Yeah, exactly. Of course, he's always a threat to fake it, too.
They
use that rugby-style punt with him where he kind of rolls out, assesses the defense to see if there's a lane to run at all, and then I think they kind of leave him to some discretion if whether or not he kicks the ball.
Here's a look at the Minnetonka offense, and we have a new quarterback in the game. It's Gus Steiger, who will see some time. He's a 5'10", 158-pound junior, so not a real big guy. As there's the give to, it's like a new running back for Minnetonka, as I think that is 14. That's Dan Charpentier. You're going to leave me hanging on that last name, aren't you? Charpentier, all right. You're going to let me butcher that one first. 35 seconds to go here in the third quarter. Steiger out of the shotgun formation. He'll hand it off, and Charpentier will get it out to about the 46, close to a first down, as that should be the final play of quarter number 3 before we head into running time in the fourth quarter, and I'm sure we'll see more of the benches empty out. So 3 seconds, 2 seconds, and that will be the end of quarter number 3 from Einar Anderson Field. We'll take a timeout and have quarter number 4 on the way next, right here on PSBMN.com.
Stream your games in HD like the pros. Have a game you want streamed? PSB is here to help. PSB offers its HD streaming services to meet your request, whether you want one game, a tournament, or even an entire season's worth of games live streamed. Every broadcast features professional play-by-play announcers, instant replay, on-screen graphics, multiple camera angles, and much more. Plus, you can even make money from broadcasting. By having PSB stream your games, you create an opportunity to bring in additional revenue to your team or booster club. You can make money from pay-per-view broadcasts, DVD and digital download sales of the broadcasts, and even control of the advertising space on the broadcasts. So what are you waiting for? Get your team on air and stream in HD like the pros. Contact production at psbmn.com to get started today.
And now back for the fourth quarter, as there's the handoff to Charpentier as he'll take it across midfield and pick up a first down for Minnetonka. And 11:53 to go immediately here in the fourth quarter. I think the clock would be running right now with running time.
Yep.
Oh, we'll get a chance to get some new names out on the field. Chance now for the skippers to also get some experience for their younger guys as they have most of their second teamers back out onto the field. A lot of contact out there on the right side. On the coverage was Bailey DeMatz, as Minnetonka was looking for 85 Josh Stevenson on the pass. Incomplete, so brings up second and 10. You even see it on the screen here as I'm watching. You can see the rain coming down. It is starting to
it's picking
get
up
heavy
again a
out
little
there.
bit.
And your radar said it's going to rain pretty much all night, it looks like.
Yeah, most of the night. Clearing off in the morning, though. It's supposed to be a really nice day tomorrow.
Charpentier will carry it to the 42-yard line and bring up third and about 3 or 4 yards. Trying to look out here at the crowd. Looks like they have a decent turnout here for homecoming, which obviously helps with attendance, but Eden Prairie also with a good turnout on their side, about 75% full on the road side.
You get handed to the students for sticking around. I see they've got a full student section over there. I don't think too many people have left, even given that it's a blowout win in the rain. So credit them for their school spirit. And
You got to look there at the student section for Eden Prairie. Good turnout for them. But yeah, I rolled in about 5:30 to start setting up our gear, and I was already seeing some students out there tailgating. They all rushed into the stands about 5:45, so they're very enthusiastic about their school, which I always love to see, even when you're having a tough night on the field like this.
Yeah, exactly.
New set of downs for Minnetonka. Charpentier with some room up the middle as he'll carry it for another first down. So Dan Charpentier getting some good positive yardage on this drive. Again, he's a senior, 5'8", 165 yards. Didn't have any carries coming into this game. So I think for only the second time tonight, Minnetonka will be in Eden Prairie territory. This time they'll go out of the shotgun from Steiger. They give the Charpentier up the middle, where he's met by a couple of Eden Prairie defenders. Among them is Peter Redman. Big guy for a linebacker, 6'5", 228.
That is a big guy for a linebacker. Holy cow.
Kind of sounds more like a defensive end,
Yeah.
It's kind of a basketball type height and weight.
For sure.
I know he's doing quite well running the ball, but again, he has plays.
And an email, someone confirming that it was Mark Ayersman, the baseball player, so my memory did serve me right. Going back to an earlier punt by Ayersman. Steiger will hand it off to Charpentier down to about the 20-yard line. And Minnetonka with another third and manageable at 3rd and 5. 8:21 to go in the fourth quarter.
And again, just a good opportunity for both sides here to get some of their reserves some playing time on a varsity football field. It's a little different, a lot of these JV games they'll be playing in for most of the year are going to be during the day, so it's a different experience being out on the field with a big crowd under the lights. It's good for them to get some of that game experience.
Another new running back into the game, that is Marshall Gladowski, as he'll come up short by about a yard or two of picking up the first down. As you said, they're normally playing during the day, and they're probably not playing in front of 5,000 or 6,000 fans either.
Right.
Maybe if they're lucky, 500 or 600 fans.
Yeah, exactly.
It is a little bit different when you're playing in front of several thousand people, I should say. Here's another new running back, Howe, and he's going to be short. So Harry Rowe, 5'10", 152-pound junior, will come up short of the first down as Minnetonka will turn it over.
Well, they've got about 7 minutes here. What do you think? 7-minute drive, cap it with a touchdown?
We'll see, yeah, what they...
to go home 56-7.
And if they want to meet their season high of 56 they scored on Hopkins, they would need one more touchdown and the extra point.
Ooh.
And some
Not a
early
good
motion on the right side of the offensive line. A little over-anxious there by the O-liners. Maybe seeing their first varsity action.
I think I'll get my third. I think I'll go 3 for 3 on my predictions.
Well, how many plays are you calling on it if they score?
I don't know how many plays.
Oh, you're not going to
There's
go
too
that
many
far
plays.
on me?
Well, let's see. To run off 7 minutes off the clock, you'd have to be looking at like 16 or 17 plays.
Oh,
probably.
wow, you're calling for a long, methodical drive.
Although, it is continuous clock, so it's not going to stop on first downs or out of bounds.
Graham Teal on the carry. Well, it's supposed to be a continuous clock, but I can see it on our screen stopping every once in a while for some reason, yeah.
Oh. You'd think they'd want to keep it running.
Yeah. It's been stopping on the turnovers, which is kind of interesting.
Oh, okay.
So I'm not even sure if it stops on injuries when you're in running time.
Yeah.
There's the handoff to the running back. There's some room. And stumbling his way past the 40-yard line, able to stay on his feet. That's Graham Teal across midfield. What a run for him. Down to about the 36-yard line.
Great run by Graham Teal there, breaking a couple of tackles. Really putting some nice moves and showing off the speed, scooting down the sideline.
Like a Graham Teal stumbled and looked like he was going to fall to the ground, but was able to keep his balance and pick up about an extra 30 yards. Well, you might be wrong if it's going to be a touchdown. I don't think it's going to be 16 plays after that big run.
No, I don't think so either. It's going to be less than 16 plays.
But they have to score first. You never know. Minnetonka could come up with the stop as well.
And they've still got 6 minutes on the clock.
By the way, new quarterback in the game for Eden Prairie, Blake Madsen. As up the middle, that is 45, Mateo Telemontes. I apologize if we're missing any of these names here. We're going by the roster that was given to us on the Football Hub, so we're hoping we have all the right numbers and names to go along with these guys. I already know Conrad switched numbers to 32, even though they don't have him listed as 32 on the roster. Telementes will carry it out left side to about the 33-yard line as a late flag will fly in. And we'll see what the official signals. Maybe a face mask since it was thrown late on the play. And it will be against Minnetonka. Well, next week it will be Prior Lake versus Eden Prairie, a big showdown between those two schools. Prior Lake, last I heard, was leading Edina 13-3 at Edina's homecoming, so that will be a battle for first place in the West Metro District. Looking at the West Metro South standings, it is Eden Prairie with that undefeated 3-0 record. Wayzata also 3-0, while Prior Lake and Maple Grove each have one loss. And from there's quite a drop-off between the 4 and the 5 spots in the district. And there's the handoff, as not a lot there, as we'll go with Ben Fisher on the carry. And I saw another new quarterback in the game as well. We'll see if we can get his number. Under 5 minutes left.
Yeah, everybody's going to play tonight. All 100.
Grant Glazer checking in. Also Cameron Getz trying to read the numbers in the huddle. Number 70, Nathan Ordos also in. At quarterback is, I believe that's Colton Neeson, 6 foot, 145-pound junior. How about that? A number 94 in the backfield who's going to carry it. Pat Young.
Why not?
Gotta love that, where you see a running back with a number 94.
Oh, for sure.
It's especially when you have a 94. You're normally picturing a guy who's like 6'5", 300 pounds. But Pat Young, 5'8", 175.
Perfect.
It's always fun to see some of these other guys get some playing time because, as head coach Mike Brandt has brought up, a lot of these guys work hard every practice. They work in the off season, and this is certainly their time to get some playing time under the lights, and got to be happy about that. Here's another new ball carrier. This one is 39, Bjorn Aronson. As he'll gain maybe about a yard, and he'll bring up 4th and 5. And we'll see if they bring in another new ball carrier here on 4th and down. 4th and 5, I should say. Under center still is Colton Nielsen. Actually checked that Neeson. And Neeson will just take a knee on 4th down.
Wow.
So they will turn it over and give Minnetonka one more drive.
Yeah. That was the courtesy mercy sign there. We've beat you bad enough today. We're just going to take a knee on 4th down.
So Eden Prairie,
give it back to you. It's more or less a punt. In a way, they're just too close to punt it.
Yeah, and obviously you're not really going to try a field goal either when it's 49-7
No.
with 3 minutes left.
So here they'll just run this out on this drive, I'm sure.
Yeah. And we'll get a chance to look at the Minnetonka depth chart now. At quarterback is still Steiger, as there's a handoff to catch the number. Is that 25, Harry Rowe? Looks like it was Harry Rowe.
I believe you're right.
Read you the numbers of some of these Eden Prairie defenders in the game. Andrew Sabin seeing some time. Also see Mohammed El Hassan in the game. As there's the handoff out to the right side to Sina Safari for a short gain. Get to test my pronunciation here as we go down the depth chart.
Oh, yeah.
Gotta
yeah,
say,
it's tough. Both squads have just a ton of kids. I mean, you're going to see guys that you normally never see on a Friday night, which...
Exactly. I only had pronunciations on the Minnetonka starters, so...
It's really a luxury to have that many kids on your roster for a lot of reasons. I mean, the way you run practice, just the fact of having backups. You know, you're not scrambling if a guy goes down to an injury or has another issue that keeps him off the field.
Yeah, when
You've usually got somebody that can step in and take his place. Whereas a lot of these smaller schools, they only have 30 guys on their roster, and that really puts them in a bind then when they have a couple of injuries. That can cost them a season.
When you're only playing, if you have guys playing both sides of the ball as well, you really don't see that very much at 6A schools, with the exception of some real standout athletes.
Right.
When you're looking at these rosters, you're seeing probably close to 50 players in each junior and senior class, which really helps your numbers.
For sure. Well, they got a big pool to draw from. Both schools over 3,000 enrollment. That's a pretty big pool to draw from, for sure.
What is significant this year is Minnetonka will pick up a first down on that run, as that was Safari picking up the first down. I was going to say, I think this is the first time Minnetonka has actually had a higher enrollment than Eden Prairie, at least according to the hub when they had those enrollment numbers on there. I believe, Minnetonka's went a little over 3,000. I'd say Eden Prairie's around 28 or 29, if I remember.
Oh, are they
right.
really?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought they were over 3,000.
Yeah, they're slowly actually losing enrollment.
Are they really?
Yeah, very slightly.
Okay.
And Safari with a couple of impressive runs on this final drive. Actually checked that. That was Harry Rowe on the carry that time.
That was a really nice hard run by Harry Rowe there.
And 30 seconds left. Wonder if this might be the final play of the game. Might have time for
Chuck
one more
it
play
deep.
after this.
Chuck it deep.
I'm with you. Let the kids have
Give
some
it
fun.
a chance.
Chuck it up deep and yell 500.
Yeah. There you go.
Harry Rowe will carry it down to the 39-yard line with, oh, they are going to stop the clock with 13 seconds. Maybe give the guys one more chance. Oh, and now they'll start running it with 10 seconds.
Yeah, I
and
can't imagine they're going to run another play here. That's got to be the end of the game.
And
they're
that
going
is
to break
going
the huddle, but I don't think they realize that
Yeah.
time is running out.
And that will be the final gun. So 49-7, Eden Prairie wins it over Minnetonka. Take a timeout and have the Sun Current post-game show on the way next here on PSP Media.
Check out this handshake here.
Hold on.
The Sun Current is proud to be your community news leader for over 50 years. Each week you can read their in-depth coverage on local government, school district news, high school sports matchups, community events, and newsmakers. The Sun Current's website is now mobile user-friendly and provides breaking local news coverage daily. Check it out at current.mnsun.com. The Sun Current is proud to be your community news leader for over 50 years. Each week you can read their in-depth coverage on local government, school district news, high school sports matchups, community events, and newsmakers. The Sun Current's website is now mobile user-friendly and provides breaking local news coverage daily. Check it out at current.mnsun.com.
Post-game show on PSP Media. Final score 49-7. Eden Prairie gets the win over Minnetonka, and overall a very dominant effort. You can find the recap of tonight's game on the Sun Current's website, current.mnsun.com. Find a list of some of the players who made some impact, since we weren't quite able to keep the official stats in tonight's game, but overall, at least in terms of on-field performance, very impressive here for Eden Prairie, as going into halftime, they outgained them 375-35, and also very lopsided in the second half, with the exception of a couple of Minnetonka drives late in the game where they were able to get a little offense going. But Eagles roll ahead to 5-0 in their 35th straight game. Up next, they'll play Prairie Lake next Friday. That will have on PSB. Minnetonka, on the other hand, has another tough test coming up next Friday, as they'll visit Maple Grove. So again, make sure you tune in next week for EP Prairie Lake, a battle for first place in the West Metro District South. Final score here, though, from Einar Anderson Field in Minnetonka is Eagles 49, Skipper 7. Thanks for tuning in, and have a good night.
Thanks for tuning in to live, local, play-by-play coverage of tonight's game. Catch all the action all season long on your home for Southwest Metro Sports, PSB Media. Tonight's game was brought to you by The Mulch Store, Brandy Warmbier's State Farm Insurance Office, Athlete PT, Noodles and Company of Eden Prairie, The Sun Current, The Tavern on 4 and 5, and in partnership with Minnesota Football Magazine and BEC TV. You can find an archived broadcast of tonight's game available 24/7 on PSBMN.com.